Don't get many genius.
No, you don't. Genii, I thought.
Genii.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry. You're listening to the Two Mikes. We're keeping you entertained throughout the night. Well, that was an exciting night, wasn't it? England warmed up for the Euros with a very lacklustre performance against Portugal, who apparently became a much more difficult team to beat after Bruno Alves was sent off for trying to decapitate Harry Kane.
It's never easy to play against 10 men, everyone knows. I thought in the second half we played some very good football. I thought that especially in the last 30 minutes when we made some changes and brought some fresh legs on, we looked good. I thought our composure throughout the game was good, and I think as a preparation game it would have been better had we been able to play against 11, but even so it was a good preparation game.
It's the same game as everybody else. Roy Hodgson's coming in for plenty of stick this morning for his tactical blunders and for trying to make square pegs fit in round holes. Mr. Parry will have a very strong view on it, of course. 08717 22 3344. Coming up on the show, we've got Sandra Lee reporting in on some gruesome crocodile and shark attacks down under, and it's the Porky quiz, of course, as well. Clint Eastwood is the subject. I'm predicting 3 out of 10. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. I'm Mike Graham, and I'm very, very happy to say that it's time to say a very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry, who seems a little disturbed.
No.
Good morning to you.
No,
you seem to be sort of shuffling about.
No. Good morning to you, Mike. I'm not shuffling about at all, and I'm not disturbed. In fact, I've just rushed into the studio after taking a call from Sergei, who is my spy in the Russian camp.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
And what does Sergei say?
Well, what Sergei says is that having listened to Roy Hodgson after the game tonight, the England manager, Russia are now adopting a new tactic for the opening game of the Euro 16 Championships in Marseille next week. Right. OK, England's first game. And what they're going to do is the Russian manager is going to instruct 2 of his men to get sent off before half-time, because after Roy Hodgson said it's very difficult to play against 10 men, the Russians have decided, well, in that case,
go one better.
It must be even more difficult to play against 9 men.
It is.
And if by half-time it's still 0-0, they're thinking of getting a third man sent off just at the start of the second half.
Could be a fascinating tactic.
Get it down to 8, and then it'd be impossible to beat them, because Mr. Hodgson made the point more than once tonight. It's so hard to play against 10 men. And it makes it more difficult. Don't you understand that you just can't get past 10 men like you can get past 11 men?
I mean, I suppose football purists will say be a bit harsh on Roy Hodgson, because it is much more difficult when a team goes down to 10 men and they start defending in numbers. But I don't know why they bothered doing that in the middle of a friendly. You know, it was a friendly, which you wouldn't know from the way that Bruno Alves, as I say, tried to decapitate Harry Kane. Could have put him out of the tournament, which would be very nasty.
It would have been,
But I mean, the Russians won't have learned anything at all from Mr. Hodgson's post-match press conference, where he refused to be drawn on anything at all about tactics, right? Let's have a listen to this.
I sort of answer those sort of questions because I'm not prepared to add my voice at the moment to the debate. I'm not prepared to say this is better or that's better. We need both systems. We need all of those players playing well. We need all of those players, doing what they can do well. And of course, in every game of football, some people will have a really good night, some people have a less good night, and I'm certainly not prepared to stand here on national television and start criticising some players while praising others. I'm really happy. The 23 players have really done well. If I start being dissatisfied when we're in 3 games in a row against Turkey, Australia and Portugal, then I'm going to be a very, very hard coach to please.
That's amazing, isn't it?
He was only asked, what did you think of the way that Kane and Vardy played together?
Well, he was also asked, actually, what preceded that was you had to change your system when they went down, when the opposition went down to 10 men. You had to change your system. Which of the 2 systems do you prefer playing? I'm not prepared to answer that question. And then he pointed out he was on national television. In the same way as some of our colleagues here point out all the time, they're on national radio.
Well, it's obviously catching on.
Well, yeah, except we're international radio, of course.
It is international radio, yeah. A bit like international rescue.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I mean,
what does he really think? Hang on, what does he really think he's giving away? I mean, I know he's part of his thing is he doesn't want to be seen to be publicly critical of his players.
Yes.
But by the same token, he also doesn't want to give away which particular tactic he's going to use. It doesn't matter, because whatever tactic he uses, whichever diamond formation he uses, whichever points and ends of the diamond various people play at, they're always the same. It's always so dull.
But what I always, and I totally agree with you. It's the dullness thing. But all the waffle after the game is, all the waffle at the end of the game is given with a note of bitterness, a note of regret, a note of antagonism, a note of, it's us against you to the interviewer all the time.
Behind the glass, though. It's got completely dark.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a good side, is it?
Maybe
can't see anyone in
there.
The
fuse has gone here at Talk Sport. Sorry, but we'll keep going.
The bill.
Remember the ship goes down, we keep firing the guns until we go under.
No, the lights have come back on.
Oh, yeah, right. What I'm saying is, he goes away shaking his head and his wiry hair, and which looks like a Brillo pad, without being rude. But I mean,
to be fair, and this was pointed out yesterday when you were attacking him for his personal coiffure.
No,
I mean, basically, you have no right to judge anybody on the hair front.
No, I know, but I don't.
Your hair looks like some kind of wisp that's been stuck on as an afterthought.
Well, I'm not going to respond to that because I don't represent English football.
Because you're on national radio.
Because I'm on national radio. I don't anybody on national radio to think that I'm not aware of what's going on. And what I was going to say is, instead of if that was Harry Redknapp, right? And I keep referring back to Harry Redknapp,
right?
Because Harry Redknapp should have had the job when. What's the problem? Howie Redknapp.
You said Harry Redknapp.
Something caught my throat there. Sorry about that. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
It's gone out again. Look, the lights have gone again.
Lights have gone out at Talksport, folks. Call the fire brigade.
God.
No, please don't do that.
No,
Sorry,
don't do that.
Sorry.
Do not
I withdraw
call the
that.
fire brigade.
I withdraw that. No, it's just a light bulb that's gone out. That's all. Right, it's come back on. No, what I was going to say is Harry Redknapp would have come out with all the positives.
Yeah.
Harry Redknapp would have said, no, very pleased, 3 games, you won 3 games, we're going to a tournament, head to hell die, and all that. And which of the 2 systems you prefer, Harry? Well, I played a system that's best against the opposition when we line up against them, all that kind of stuff.
It's gone off again.
Oh, yeah.
This could go on all night.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're a bit distracted, actually, and you should be listening to me, not worrying about lights going on and off. No, you're not. Why is it so hot in here?
Well, I don't know why it's so hot.
Switch the fire off.
Look into the light. We haven't got on fire.
I can't look into the light. There's no light. Oh, well, there we go.
Probably why it's so hot in here.
This is becoming shambolic. This is No, it's not. It's not. Don't say that.
No, it's not on fire.
No.
The place is definitely not on fire.
This is becoming shambolic. Don't know what's going on here. Where's the management?
They don't work at night.
Hey,
that's why they let us come in and run the place.
Where's the management when you need them? Didn't we used to have a man who was in charge of chairs?
We used to have a guy that came in.
We got a man in charge of lights.
No, he's busy now. He's running something else. But there used to be a guy that was running the place who used to come in quite often late at night.
Yes.
After he'd been out on the Terps.
Used to find him under the desk on his hands and knees, fixing plugs and things. Yeah. What's the problem?
Oh, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Life and Times.
Listen.
So, what are your observations about the England game?
My observations about the England games again. I mean, we've had a couple of instances where you thought, look, here's Jamie Vardy and Harry Kane. 2 of the brightest young stars of the Premier League. Right, score more goals between them than most players and teams put together.
Yeah.
Somehow he's got Vardy out on the left. He substitutes him at half time. Brings in Jack Wilshere, who didn't seem to do very much at all. And I mean, basically, as the Times puts it this morning, it's square pegs in round holes again. He's making these players play.
Pegs in round
holes.
He's
making these players play in the wrong position.
Yeah.
And this does not look to me. I mean, Portugal are something like 14-1.
Yep.
About 7th or 8th favourite to win the Euros, right?
Yes.
England didn't look any better last night than that, did they? And they didn't even have Ronaldo.
No. The match report in the Times is done by Henry Winter, of course, who was at Wembley. But the headline, Square Pegs and Round Holes, is above a story written by Matt Hughes, the deputy football correspondent.
Yeah.
And Henry Winter was in this very studio yesterday with H&J.
Was he?
Yes, and I was communicating with him on Twitter, and he sent out an incredibly complimentary note about me being a magnificent broadcaster.
Really?
Yeah, it was very nice of him. It was very nice of him.
I didn't see that. Can you show it to me?
Well, I haven't got my information device.
What do you mean you haven't got it?
Well, I don't bring it in. It distracts me.
Well, you haven't got it in the studio. Why are you going to read tweets out if you haven't got your information device?
Listen, I'll bring it in a minute. It's outside in my clothier thing.
In your what?
My coat.
What did you call it?
Well, it's made of special cloth.
Clothier?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
As in cloth ears?
No, you idiot. What I was thinking was, is there any rule in international football that goes like this?
Yeah.
The opposition down to 10 men. It's very hard to play against 10 men. So in the second half, I've decided to only field 10 men.
Actually, that's a good idea.
It'd be easier.
I wonder if you could do that. Maybe it would be. That's tremendous. What a great idea.
It'd be easier to play against Russia. They've only got 10 men. We'll only have 10 men. Otherwise, it's going to be too difficult with 11 men.
You think you're going to be cunning like that? Well, beat you at your own game.
Exactly. I just can't believe it. I cannot believe that any manager can try and get away with it's very hard to play against 10 men.
Yeah.
There's only 10 of them, there's 11 of us. Use the spare man to great benefit. Have him whizzing up and down the wings, swinging balls in or something like that.
Great teams don't have any trouble beating other teams that have gone down to 10 men.
Of course they don't.
It has to be said. But I'm slightly more concerned about what's going to happen when they get to France. They're going to France, apparently, now, more or less, straight away.
Yes.
After presuming a bit of a rest. And have you seen the flooding there? Have you seen the...
France is in a terrible state.
France is in a terrible state. There's got a flooding. They've got the trains on strike.
Yes.
The air traffic controllers are on strike.
That's right.
There's all sorts of,
no fuel.
threats of no fuel. There's also threats of security problems and this, that and the other. I mean, it's not the greatest place in the world to have a football tournament next week.
Do you know what I think?
What?
I think the French are very, very clever. They've decided to sort out the immigration problem by making France impossible to live in. Flood Paris. Don't have any petrol in the petrol stations.
I mean, you couldn't even take a boat on the Seine yesterday.
Exactly. Everybody goes on strike, and all the immigrants who spent like 3 months making their way from places like Libya and Iraq,
Afghanistan,
have decided, balderdash to France.
Indeed.
We're off to England.
Bloxios.
Yes, Bloxios.
Quite right, too. Here's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We've got the Porky quiz coming up a little bit later on. I've got an English test for you as well, actually.
An English test? I don't need an English test.
And I've got some news about a Russian assassination in Surrey.
Oh, a Russian assassination. Before we go, you're going to have to eat a bit of humble pie, Mr. Cuban.
I don't think so.
I think you are.
No,
I think you are.
I don't think so. This is Talk Sport.
Can't explain all the feelings that you're making me feel. My heart's in overdrive and you're behind the steering wheel. Touching you, touching me, touching you, God, you're touching me.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. Any idea who that is? You must know that band, right? It's a very unique sound for the singer.
One?
Yeah.
Is it Coldplay?
No.
Who is it then?
It's The Darkness.
The Darkness?
The Darkness. You must have heard of The Darkness.
Because the lights have gone out. I've never heard of The Darkness. But
you never heard of them?
Yeah, listen,
he ended up in rehab, that guy.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm doing a bit of research here. You know, Copper America goes on at the same time as the Euros. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking of going over there.
What, to America?
Why? Well, I've just been doing some research.
Yeah.
The South American fans are much, much better looking.
That's true, actually. Yeah. Although you say that, but I mean, some of the girls in the Euros, which I presume you're referring to the female variety of fans.
I'm the South American girls. I mean,
who are they supporting? The red and white stripes?
I don't know.
Sure, they're not Sunderland fans.
No. It says, look, Copper America fans getting ready to go to the tournament.
It doesn't say anything. I can't see a caption on that picture.
Well, hang on.
Maybe you should tweet it out.
Wait a minute. Well,
where's the caption?
Well, hang on. I'll find it. Right. Colourful, noisy and party animals. 15 great pics of fans at the Copa America.
Yeah, right.
Including these ladies who...
but that's probably from previous ones, right?
You have to say that they've
who plays in red and white
figures. I don't know. Broad red and white stripes. It does. It is a Sunderland shirt.
Yeah.
I can see a... hang on.
Is it Chile? Is Chile? Did Chile play red and white?
No, Chile play in
Is it
blue.
Peru? Peru played red and white.
Could be Peru. Here, I've widened up the badge, which just happens to be on the chest region of the shirt of one of these young ladies. but I promise you, I'm trying to identify the...
what does it say?
Tiago.
Tiago?
Yeah.
As in silver?
Tiag.
Oh,
no, wait a minute. What's that say? Here, is that a face?
It's not a face. No, it's some kind of a... It's a brand. It's not like a national badge.
Oh.
I think that's just a picture of two rather buxom-looking women in football shirts.
Oh, here. Look, here's the badge.
All right, go on. What does it say?
I'm going to show it to you now. It's on the other side of the chest of this woman. See?
The other side of the chest.
That is a badge, isn't it?
There is a badge, but you can't really make it out.
No.
It's like Rangers.
Rangers, no,
it's
not Rangers. Yeah. But anyway,
it's not Peru because they played a sash.
Anyway, this is all periphery stuff. We should be talking about serious stories. Now, serious stories.
Stories. How about this, right? Now, this bloke is a Russian businessman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Who was apparently a whistleblower linked to a money laundering operation involving several Russian sort of top knobs.
Right.
Various, government people.
Can I just tell you something before we go any further?
Yeah, go on.
Life expectancy for that man, 3 months.
Oh, he's already dead.
Oh, he's dead. Right. Life expectancy,
dead.
No months. Yeah, right.
No, he's already dead.
Right.
He dropped dead. I mean, to be fair...
He dropped dead?
He dropped dead while out on a run.
Oh, well, he's had the polonium treatment then, hasn't he?
This is the thing. In Weybridge, right? In a place in Weybridge.
Oh, my God, that's down the road from me.
His name is Alexander Peripilichny. Right?
Yeah.
Now,
oh, dear.
Interpol had already linked him to money laundering being organised in 2007-2009. It's believed he'd organised a crime group to misappropriate money, right?
Yeah.
He lived in a £3 million mansion in Weybridge, right?
Yeah.
When he dropped dead, when there was nothing wrong with him, and they examined him afterwards, they said they can't rule out foul play.
Well, you know what it is.
That he had a heart attack brought on by the injection of something.
You know the mysterious case of the spy in the back.
Yes,
they reckon he was injected with something which induced a heart attack and then disappeared from his body.
Yeah.
It's a Russian trick.
It's a Russian trick. Well, guess how much money they found in his Swiss bank account?
No.
140 million.
Just 140 million.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I told you he didn't have a great life expectancy.
And he's involved in some multi-million-pound fraud in a group called the Hermitage Capital Management Group, which apparently has various members of the Russian plutocracy involved in it.
I have no doubt.
I just wanted to say to you that, that phrase, the waters are lapping around your ankles.
Yes.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because, your handlers...
Whose ankles?
Yours.
What are you on about?
Well, because you've got these connections to Russia. You've just told us at the start of the show.
I have no connection to Russia.
You've been talking to Sergei about, how the Russian tactics are going.
No, I was being satirical there. I was being satirical, honestly.
I mean, you've also sort of talked before about your love for Putin and all that. I mean,
did you say this guy dropped dead in Weybridge?
He did.
Actually, there's somebody I know lives in Weybridge I wish would drop dead, but anyway, that's another story.
That's another story, yeah. We shouldn't go there.
No, we shouldn't go there.
No.
Right, now then, let's talk about a real story, because you're going to have to wriggle your way out of this.
Go on.
Looking at the headline on the back of the Daily Mirror.
Yes.
The name on the story, David Maddock, one of the finest and most respected... one of the finest and most respected journalists in the world.
You're not on the Sports Breakfast now, in which you say that about everyone whose stories you read out.
In the world of the written press, and it says, Blues get their man, Everton to hand Ron, that's Ronald Koeman, £7 million a year and a £165 million kitty. And the first paragraph says, Everton are set to land Ronald Koeman with a £7 million a year double your money offer and the promise of massive transfer funds. Yeah. Right? Do you feel like a mug?
Not at all. Because
hang on.
Let me ask you one question.
Well, I'll tell you what. Have a listen to this, and I'll ask you.
Dark in there again.
I'll ask you again if you feel like a mug.
Okay then.
£100. Koeman will be the Everton manager.
£100.
I'm extending my hand.
You want to make
a bet with you.
I don't think we can encourage betting on this show.
I want you to accept my bet. £100 will go to charity of either choice.
Yeah, I know which charity of my choice is going to.
Was that witness, please, from behind the glass there? That handshake was witness, thank you.
Straight down the pub.
Yeah, right.
You can give it to charity if you like.
Right.
I'm not going to.
Oh, OK. Oh, well, that's nice. He's not going to give his charity. I'm giving mine to charity.
Why should I?
Koeman for Everton.
I'm not about trying to get people to kind of like me because I supposedly give loads of money to charity.
Yeah, well, I do.
If I take your £100, right?
Yes.
What I might do is just have it framed.
Oh, yeah?
Make sure you give it to me in 2 crisp £50 notes, and I might just have it framed and put it up on the wall.
You couldn't keep £100 from being spent if you tell you 150.
I'd probably have to give it away to my dependents.
You Burke.
Or you could just give me 10 of those new crisp £5 plastic notes.
Well, actually, that would only be £50, wouldn't it?
Eh?
That would only be £50.
That would be 50.
You'd like 100.
You give it to me now. No, I'm offering you now to break out of the bet.
No, you're giving me 100.
No, I'm not going to give you 100.
You are.
The story isn't happening.
Koeman's going to be Everton manager, and I told you that this time last night.
It's not happening.
Now, look, in life, there are those who know what's going on, right? And are those who pretend they know what's going on.
Okay, well, can you tell me this?
I am now in the first category.
Can you tell me this?
Yeah.
When was the last time David Maddock, one of the finest sports reporters in the world, as you put it, got anything, exclusive that nobody else had, and it turned out to be true?
I would imagine probably sometime last week. I would imagine.
Well, have you got any evidence?
Well, I don't religiously read the back of every paper every day,
really?
And then I do.
Why not?
I do, but
you
then
do?
but then log it in my mind. My mind isn't big enough to store every fact I've got. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Some sort of go back into what I call brain overload, which is the back of my brain.
Your brain is the very opposite of a sponge.
I think not.
Yeah. But
so you're wriggling out of it. You're wriggling out of it.
I'm not wriggling out of it. When and if Koeman is indeed appointed, I will not do what you do, which is to welch out of a bet. I will pay you quite happily. But what I'm saying to you now is that it has not, as of this moment in time, been proven to be happening. If you look at the Sun, which is, I would say, generally speaking, on football, a much more reliable source.
Well, what you said, the Mirror's not a reliable source.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
John Cross works for the Mirror, don't you?
What I'm saying is that, as you well know,
yes,
quite often these football reporters will get a sniff of a story and they will say, this is going to happen. I mean, most of the reason why Koeman is now, being tipped as having done a deal with Everton is because there was a massive amount of money placed on him in the last 48 hours.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know whether that was people who know something on the inside. Wow. If it was, obviously, that would be a terrible thing.
Yes.
I don't know whether you've got any inside information information?
I have no inside information.
So basically, it's all guesswork at the moment. And what the Sun says is that Everton is their intro, right?
Yes.
Everton hope their £6 million a year offer to is enough to land Ronald Koeman by next week.
Yeah.
Hope.
Well, I think you're fine. I think you're fine and you should know as much about this as I do. In the competitive world of tabloid journalism, clearly David Maddox of the Mirror is ahead on points.
Well, he might be.
And he is predicting that the deal is done.
He is predicting it. And if the deal is done, I will owe you £100. If the deal is not done, you will owe me £100. So at the moment, I think you're a bit premature to start gloating about how you got it right.
Yeah, you're trying to wriggle out of it.
No, at all. I'm not going to wriggle out. You're the one that wriggles out. You wriggled out of going off Bournemouth Pier. You wriggled out of staying in my apartment in
they
Manhattan.
wouldn't allow me to jump off Bournemouth
You wriggled out
Pier.
of all sorts of things you promised to do and never did.
I'm not a wriggler.
You are a wriggler.
No, I'm not.
Now, Matt on the M40 says red and white stripes of Paraguay.
Oh, Paraguay. Well done. Thank you.
And
They do
Neil
look
says that
Paraguay,
as well.
those young ladies, I have to say.
Well, I'm also being told it could be Chile, but most people are saying it's Paraguay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, it's definitely not Chile. Do you know when I was a kid, Sabutio, I had the Chilean national team.
Well, they might change their kit.
Blue, red, white socks.
What?
They have...
blue shirts?
Blue shirts, red shorts, white socks.
Yeah, I don't think that's the kit they had in the last World Cup.
Well, that's a kit that they used to have when I was a Sabutio fanatic and champion.
Well, I mean, if you look at all the Sabutio kits that you used to have, hardly any of them are still the same.
Oh, no,
Hardly
they are.
any.
No, they are.
Hardly any of them.
Hang on, which club in England has changed its colours in the last 100 years? Cardiff, and that's it.
No, loads of them have.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
No, they haven't.
Very, very much so.
They might have changed the way the colours are presented on the shirt.
Yeah, Manchester City have changed their shirts loads of times. Man United have changed their shirts loads of times. You know, they used to have black socks at Manchester United, which they don't have anymore.
They do sometimes. Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
It's still their official kit.
Who was it I saw coming out in some horrible green kit? Is it not Everton? Is it Everton? They're going to play some green away kit.
Yeah, bottle green. It's horrible.
Green.
It's horrible.
Well, what's going on with that?
That's a second kit, you idiot. What I'm
saying
is
the main. Still going to play it.
The main kit is very, very rarely changed. Believe me, because it's part of a club's tradition.
Yes.
Here we go. You're absolutely right. Willie says red and white stripes got to be Paraguay. Daniel says Paraguay, you planks, but he names you, not me, as a plank.
Well, that's all right then.
And what?
I said that's all right then.
And Thomas says it's Paraguay lads. And that's about it, really.
That's about it. Well, I've already said all that, and so you've just wasted another minute of
Robbo here. A note to you, to Mike Graham. Yeah. Are you going to eat your humble pie? Coleman humble
because
pie.
It hasn't happened yet.
Coleman humble pie.
If it happens, I'll be more than happy to pay up because I'm a man of honour, unlike the man sitting next to me, who is a complete and utter charlatan. This is Talk Sport. Ideas?
What
this music is?
That's the national anthem of Paraguay.
Very good.
Thank you.
You guessed that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No,
you did.
No, I knew. I know.
By a process of elimination.
No. I know all the national anthems of all the countries in the world.
Do you?
Yes.
Well, I feel a quiz coming on.
No.
We're going to have to do a quiz on national anthems of the world.
No.
Why not?
I'm not going to be put to the test on every single thing I say. The thing is, my knowledge is so extensive that you're so envious of.
Apart from about Porto, right, which we have you on record saying you're not an expert on. It's the only thing you've ever said you're not an expert on.
At school, I was known as Britannica because of my extensive knowledge. Because in those days, you still had people knocking on doors trying to sell you volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica.
Just everyone predicted you'd be left on the shelf.
No, I've never been left on the shelf, and that's
you have been left on the shelf.
Quite ridiculous comment.
Now, hear about this from Mitchell.
Right.
I want your view on this. He says, can I have a big shout out and congratulations as I've completed my Euro 2016 sticker book today.
Really? Sorry, what's this guy's name again?
Mitchell.
How old is Mitchell?
Well, I don't know, but I think he's too old to be putting sticker books together.
Well, if Mitchell is a young schoolboy...
No, he's not.
How do you know?
Well, there's a picture of one of... He's one of these three people.
Let me have a look, please.
Right? He's one of them.
Right. In that case, he's a sado. Sorry, mate, but, if you spent the last 3 weeks buying bubblegum packets to get stickers out and stick them into...
Darren Goff and Colin Murray have been doing it.
Doing what?
Sticker books.
No.
They've been doing the Euro 2016 sticker books.
Where'd you get the stickers from?
Eh?
Where'd you get the stickers from?
I think Panini or something like that.
Oh, do you buy them in newsagents and all that?
You buy them? Yeah, I think you buy them, yeah.
Good God.
I know, it's a bit of a waste
Do we
of time,
really
isn't it?
employ people like that?
Yeah, it's shocking, isn't
Crikey.
Now, here's an emergency question for you.
Right, okay.
He says, emergency, please, Porky, can you help me? I've just been beaten in a darts match by the in-laws. I'm furious.
Right.
What would you do?
Take it out on their face, depending on which sort of in-law it is, I suppose.
You can't do that. And Richard's got one here. I don't think he understands your Russian tactic. He says, surely Russia would get one of our players sent off, not one of theirs.
Well, no.
It's harder to win with 10 against 11 than 11 against 10.
No. According to Mr. Hodgson, it's very hard to play against 10 men. So I'm thinking of reducing our team to 10 men at half-time against Russia, and then the Russians will have a real problem.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, I was telling you earlier, I've got a little English test for you, and it's not anything like the quiz, because we're doing a proper quiz coming up on Clint Eastwood a little bit later on in the show, right?
Yeah.
But I spotted this in one of the papers the other day.
Okay.
And I took the quiz already, because it's a quiz about how English are you.
Right. Okay.
And I can tell you there are 14 questions, and I got 7.
14?
Well, it's multiple choice, though. So
you sure we've got time for this?
Yeah, we have. We'll rush through it really quickly.
All right.
Really, really quickly.
Okay.
Because I took the test, and I got 7 out of 14.
All right.
Which
Fair
tells
enough.
which tells you that I'm 50% English, which actually is exactly what I am.
Okay.
Because I'm half Scottish.
Right, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
So-
half Scottish, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say you're half wastrel, but anyway, go on, yeah.
Well, all right,
Yeah,
so we'll rush through them, right? And there's always... I'm going to give you 3 choices, OK? Mm-hmm. First question. Who built the first castle at Windsor? Was it Henry VIII, William the Conqueror, or George IV?
It was William the Conqueror.
William the Conqueror is correct.
Thank you.
Question number 2. Where was St. George, patron saint of England, originally from? France, Turkey, or England?
He was originally from Turkey.
Correct.
Thank you.
Question number 3. Where would you find Merlin's Cave? Dorset, Folkestone, or Cornwall?
Merlin's Cave is in Dorset.
That's incorrect.
No.
It's in Cornwall.
Oh.
Question number 4.
Yeah.
Who was the first Englishman to sail around the world? Sir Walter Raleigh, Sir Francis Drake, or Charles Darwin?
Sir Walter Raleigh.
Incorrect.
No.
It was Sir Francis Drake.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. He only got as far as Panama. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, number 5.
Yeah.
What was the title of Thomas Hardy's first novel? Far from the Madding Crowd, Under the Greenwood Tree, or Tess of the D'Urbervilles?
It was Tess of the D'Urbervilles.
Incorrect.
No.
It was Under the Greenwood Tree.
No, it's Far from the Madding Crowd, I think. Right.
Where was Dame Maggie Smith born? Dagenham, Ilford, or Middlesex?
She was born in Dagenham.
Correct. No, incorrect. It was Ilford.
No, well, I said Ilford.
No, you didn't.
I meant Ilford.
Where did Jane Austen write Emma and Persuasion? Derbyshire, Pemberley, or Chawton?
What?
Where did she write Emma and Persuasion? Derbyshire, Pemberley, or Chawton?
Where's Chawton?
I don't know.
Where's Pemberley?
I don't know.
Right, I'll go for Chawton.
Chawton. Correct.
Hey!
Question number 8.
Yes.
Name the birthplace of BBC television. Alexandra Palace, Canary Wharf, the BT Tower.
Alexandra Palace.
It would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Question number 9.
Yes.
What was the name of the ship used by Charles Darwin to sail around the world? The Siren, the Victoria, or the Beagle?
The Beagle.
Correct.
Yes.
Question 10. What is
Yes.
the oldest breed of draft horse in England? The Suffolk Punch, the Polish Draft, or the Irish Draft?
The Suffolk Punch.
What's happened to the music?
I don't know.
Suffolk Punch is correct.
Yes.
Question number 11. Who was the first true king of England? Ethelred the Unready, Alfred the Great, or Edward the Martyr?
It was Alfred the Great.
Correct.
Thank you.
Question number 12. In what year was Epsom's Derby Day inaugurated? Now, this is good because you're going to Derby tomorrow.
Yeah.
1852, 1760, or 1779?
It was 1760.
1760 is incorrect.
No.
1779.
No.
What was the name of the road where William Shakespeare was born? Henley Street, Merchant Street, or Baker Street?
Say again.
What was the name of the road where William Shakespeare was born? Henry Street.
Yeah.
Henley Street, rather. Merchant Street or Baker Street?
It was Henley Street.
Correct.
Thank you.
How many Oscars have been won by James Bond film composer John Barry? 6, 3, or 5?
5.
Correct.
3.
I think you've done rather well there.
Yes.
You got 10 right.
Thank you very much.
So you are basically 2/3 English.
Well, the ones I got wrong, I only just got
so
wrong.
1/3 of your Englishness doesn't work.
You know, Ilford, I knew Ilford for Maggie Smith, but I confused it with Dagenham in my head.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that's 11, really.
Well, I mean, you did better than me, anyway.
Yeah, of course I did better than you. I mean, anybody can do better than you, but I in particular have a superior intellect.
Well, no, it's about how English you are. That's the whole point of the test.
Okay. Right,
Anyway.
now, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, go on.
There's important issues we have to talk about.
Yes.
The situation regarding braces, okay?
Braces.
Now, last
You
night...
mean braces on your teeth?
No.
Braces on your trousers?
Last night when you popped in to talk to Misha Goldstein...
Yes.
And,
on the sports bar, yes.
Yeah, and Jason.
Yes.
He asked you these questions before you start. One of them was, do you wear braces?
Yeah.
And you said you only ever worn them once.
Well,
Now-
I didn't say I only wore them once, as I used to have a pair with a dinner suit that I had.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great. Don't you think
What do you mean,
that...
great?
Well, that's
Great.
the only time.
Great.
That's the only time I've ever worn them as well.
Right.
Don't you think the most affectatious, rubbishy item of clothing in the world?
Well, it's the sort of thing that you see, these rather sort of flabby lawyers wearing when they're all strutting around the temple.
I mean, do you know what happened? What happened was Wall Street came on, right?
Yeah.
And also,
Gordon
Michael.
Gekko had them.
Yeah. And do you know who started wearing them next?
Who?
Andrew Neil.
Yes,
I saw
that's
Andrew
true.
Neil on television, and he's wearing braces. And the whole idea was to make out that you're some kind of, huge presence.
Master
you know what
of
I
the
mean?
universe.
Master of the universe
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And do you know the third person I saw wearing them?
Who?
It was pathetic.
Who was that?
I was holding a daily conference at the Press Association, right, where I was El Supremo.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the door sort of clicked, and I didn't bother turning round. I suspected it would be, and the editor-in-chief walked in,
Oh, yeah.
And
Who was that? Don't say his name.
PP, right? And
did he start wearing them?
and he had these ridiculous
Were they red?
red and white
Yeah.
striped braces.
Right.
And they were attached to his trousers, which weren't falling down, by the way.
No.
Trousers
But,
don't
I mean,
fall
also
down.
kind of interesting to see where you attach them, because they should,
Yeah.
by rights, they should have those little leather things
Yes,
attached
that's right.
to the buttons.
To the buttons.
Not clip-on, right?
Oh, no, these are clip-on, because, of course, there's no buttons on modern-day trousers.
Well, no, but there
accommodate.
are if you have them made.
Well, exactly, but he hadn't. He just suddenly decided on braces. And he was strutting around, and people just started laughing at
But
him.
also, that's typical of him, if you
Of
don't mind me
course,
saying so.
of
Wearing
course.
clip-on, it's a bit like wearing a clip-on bow tie,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly, yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
for losers.
Yeah.
Do you wear a clip-on bow tie?
No, I don't.
Really? Well, you know how to tie a bow tie?
Hang on, what sort of bow tie do I wear?
What sort of... I mean, it's not that difficult a question.
No, it's...
It's not like you're under torture.
No. It's got a black ribbon that goes around the back, and you connect it to the back of your neck in a clip.
That doesn't mean you're tying it. So it's a stuck-on bow tie, then?
No, it's not a stuck-on
Yeah, it
bow
is.
tie. You put it on around your neck. I don't stick it on the
but
front
you're
of
not-
my shirt, you idiot.
Yeah, but it's not tied, is it?
Well,
You don't tie it.
The only person I've ever...
You don't get it, like, in two pieces like a normal tie, and you don't have to tie it.
The only person I've ever known who wore bow ties, which are tied up, are losers. And
Really?
one in particular I worked with in
Really?
America was, sadly he's dead now, sorry about that.
Did he drink
But-
himself to death?
No, he didn't drink himself to death. He expired through sort of being boring and old age. Sorry, is that
a bit harsh.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh, yeah, I'm
Well,
sorry.
no, lots of people know how to tie a bow tie. What you're wearing is a stick-on bow tie. I'm sorry.
It's not a stick-on bow
It
tie.
is. The fact that it fastens behind your collar
Yes.
does not make it a tied bow tie.
Well, that is the majority of bow ties are tied behind the collar, believe me.
No, they're not.
Well, what, you telling me you do one up when you
Yes,
wear
you
it?
do, yeah. And because I mean, there was a time when I used to wear different coloured bow ties.
Well, I was gonna say.
Because I used to go to a lot of black tie do's in America.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And also up in Scotland. So I would have a variety of different ties. that
Yeah,
I would tie.
I do. I have a black and white checked one, which I particularly like.
Black and white checks.
Yeah,
Looks like Billy Bunter.
No, black and white checked. I have a velvet royal blue one.
Ugh.
Yeah, which I once wore to the annual
That's like
dinner
it's like prom
at Everton.
night.
Eh?
Prom night.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. I look very smart actually in the dinner
Do
jacket.
you? What size?
What?
What size?
Well, the same size as all the rest of my clothes, you idiot.
What size is that?
Well, the size.
What size?
Well, my shirts are X, right, and my
What size jacket?
the equivalent.
I'll tell you what size
That
jacket.
fits
I mean,
over
I just
an
bought a
shirt,
suit.
yeah.
I'll tell you what size it was if you like.
Well, I'm
It's
not
44.
I'm not interested. I couldn't care less.
44.
I just couldn't care less. Why should I be interested in the size of your jacket?
People are very interested in the size of your jacket.
They're not. They're not. Honestly, they really couldn't care less.
Right.
Now, listen. The other thing I want to talk to you about was.
Yes.
Do you remember I said to you the other day? Is Zippo a circus?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Why?
Remarkably, that's 2 nights when I've been going home. I have to drive out through the city and then into Surrey.
Yeah.
And there's a place called Carshalton. It's a tiny little
I know
town.
Carshalton, yeah.
Tiny little town, and it's got ponds in the middle.
Yeah.
And to negotiate the roads around the ponds and then get up into the sort of,
Why is it difficult to negotiate the ponds?
Well, because the road's so narrow, cars keep going off the road into the pond,
Really?
believe me, yeah. Anyway, the other night, I couldn't believe it. I came around the corner, and coming the other way was this massive, massive lorry. But behind it, it was pulling a trailer the same size as the lorry.
Right.
And it was a Zippo circus on the move.
What was in the trailer? Any animals?
No, because they don't have animals in circuses anymore.
Well, Zippo Circus was at Blackheath.
Well, it must have been on the move then.
Throughout, certainly over Easter, I think.
It was an incredible vehicle. I've seen lorries before pulling trailers of about a third of the size or half the size of the main lorry.
Yeah.
This was huge. I don't know how on earth he got it round any of the bends he was going to have to go round and mini roundabouts. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's the biggest vehicle I've ever seen on the road in this country.
Wow.
And that's and the guy who's driving
You don't get around much, do you?
So much respect for him, because he must have to. That must be his full-time job all the time, driving them to the lorries
Driving
around.
circus lorries.
Yeah,
around.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
He's probably the ringmaster. You know, he probably
Yeah,
looks
I don't
after
think so.
the trapeze artist or something like that.
Fascinating story.
Yeah, it is.
Is there any more like that?
No, I think it's brilliant.
David says this: in the 70s, Crystal Palace used to play in claret and blue. So there. This is Talk Sport.
They still do.
Stick over the stickers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mark the Taxi says, splendid effort to Mitchell. He says, I'm 110 stickers away. Feel free to donate your swaps.
You think grown men talking to each other?
And then he says, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're taking the mickey a bit,
Dave says, can't wait for the Porky quiz. I predict 3 out of 10. Do you feel lucky, punk?
Well, I do actually, and I think that as we've had a warm-up quiz already tonight, and I got 11 out of 15.
You got 10 out of 14. Didn't you?
11 out of 14. 11 out of 14.
No, it's 10. No, you've added one on.
Oh, 10 out of 14.
10 out of 14.
That's even better than I thought it was. I mean, that's a pretty.
Well, it's about 2/3, isn't it?
No, it's more than 2/3. It's
roughly
70%.
2/3,
70%. That's a terrific score.
Nick says, come on, Porky, do a national anthem quiz. Prove to Mike Graham how superiorly intellectual you are.
Well, we haven't got time for that,
we haven't got time for that. But I'll tell you what we have got to do. We've got to talk to Simon Johnson from The Standard, because, of course, he was at Wembley last night.
Indeed.
Simon, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Morning, chaps. I apologise for ruining this conversation that you're obviously enjoying.
Yes.
With now bringing it back down to more miserable things than the England football team, which is a quiz in its own, really.
Well, it really is. I mean, the quiz really around the England football team is why on earth have we got such a talented group of young men? And take any area of the field that you like, take any tournament that you like over the past sort of, 12 years, and when you put them together in England shirt, they play like they did last night.
Yeah, well, I'll take you back a couple of months and the feel-good factor of the Germany victory.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a team that you went, yes, here we go. Look, we've got a young, exciting team here that are going to go out and do us proud in the Euros, and we've finally got a team we're excited to watch.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think we've just messed up the preparation, really. I think Roy Hodgson's got a bit confused with sort of whether he wants to experiment, who he wants to try out, and instead of using the 3 games, which I think was the original plan, which was to get the team all ready and going for the first game against Russia, instead he sort of chopped and changed. And now we're sort of almost back to square one. We've lost all that sort of momentum that we built with that.
It was in total confusion, Simon. And the problem is he takes it out on people who ask him questions afterwards, mostly members of your profession. You know, when he's asked, well, which of the 2 systems did you prefer tonight? You had to change when the opposition went down to 10 men. He then says pompously, I'm not answering that question on national TV. I mean, what on earth's going on?
Yeah, he's been very snappy like that.
That's what I mean. He's
a lot of through the build-up, and which is a bit ominous because we haven't even got going yet.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to get a lot tougher questions next week. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he's got all Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, what's next? He's going to bring in a few sort of backroom staff to boo the journalists whenever they get asked a question.
Yeah, I think he should.
We often get booed.
Yeah. Now, Simon, the other thing which I found completely incomprehensible was Roy almost said that it was a brilliant strategy for Portugal to get a man sent off because it made England, England was impossible to beat 10 men. Because as you know, and he's been in football 50 years, and he keeps reminding us, you can't beat 10 men. I mean, why did he dwell on that particular aspect of the game?
I've got no idea. Basically, I was sitting there with my colleague as we were trying to keep each other awake, and we were actually speculating at the time as the game was going on. What is he going to come out with to put a positive spin on this? How is he going to try and deflect from what was a pretty abysmal performance, and some of the stuff you come out with is exactly, it's some of the mind-blowing things he ended up coming out with. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I mean, the fact that he didn't make any changes for so long was baffling for me because look, it's all very well wanting the 4 diamond 2 to work. But as soon as the team goes down to 10 men, you've got to try and get width. Because obviously if you keep going down the middle, that's exactly where 10 men want what the games we played.
Exactly. You spare man. Sorry, Sam. You spare man. You just stick him out in the wing and you revert to swinging balls into the area, don't you?
Well, exactly, and look where the goal came from. It came from a ball out wide and across. I mean,
exactly.
It's a very simple game. I
was following people's reactions on Twitter, and a lot of people were giving Hodgson stick for. Harry Kane sort of taking free kicks from the from the wings instead of being in the middle of the penalty area, waiting for them to come in. But I mean, he talks about positives and things that we can take out of it. But I mean, Portugal without Ronaldo, they're hardly a very good team. He's going to be playing a lot better teams than Portugal without Ronaldo, isn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to worry. For example, I mean, Wales look a pretty tricky fixture on the evidence of last night. They were pretty tricky anyway. But you just sort of think the three warm-up games have all got one thing in common, which is we've looked very ropey at the back. Even last night, there were quite a few Portuguese players who had sort of free headers in the penalty area.
Indeed.
Sort of thinking, this is with 10 men.
Yeah.
And Gareth Bale, you think, is going to have a field day against that defence. It's as I said, we had a feel-good factor going on after the Germany game, but it's almost like we're back to square one again and approaching this first game with Russia with a bit of pessimism. Yeah. I think that the key is we've just got to win this first game. We never seem to get off to a good start. That will blow away some of the anxiety. But
I totally agree.
There's a lot of work to do over the next week.
But you're right about him snapping at journalists, and that gives you the feeling that it's a troubled camp. You know what I mean? You know that his mind's all over the place and he's snapping at people, shooting the messenger and all that. It couldn't have helped because you're right about the preparation. When he was telling the world last night, as my colleague MG pointed out to me, that he was playing Portugal so that they could deal with Ronaldo like they're going to deal with Gareth Bale. And at the same time as he was telling us that, Ronaldo was posing in his budgie smugglers in his swimming pool in Ibiza. I mean, that again is a bit of a planning blunder, isn't it?
Well, of course, I think when they booked this fixture, they couldn't be sure that Real Madrid were going to get to the Champions League final. Of course, if Real Madrid had been knocked out earlier, then Ronaldo, I'm sure, would have played. But it did kind of rub salt in the wounds that you saw. To be honest, I wish
but he
I
comes,
was where Ronaldo was.
But that's the thing, Simon. He comes across as this kind of blundering guy who's not very lucky. And, whenever he does anything, he gets harangued by the press. And I know that we'll be accused of doing the same thing here.
Feel lucky, punk?
Yeah, but exactly. I mean, he feels... It doesn't inspire confidence because he doesn't look like a bloke that kind of is lucky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, his managerial record isn't exactly a lucky one on the grand scheme of things, certainly in recent years. I mean, he's a lovely sort of grandfather type kind of guy, but like a grandfather, sometimes they can be a bit cranky if you get the wrong side of them. And
you don't want to leave him in charge of the kids, frankly.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, what is it? I mean, Mike said this before. Yeah. What does he talk to people like Marcus Rashford about?
I've no idea.
I mean, they have nothing in common.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Simon, that he was appointed by Mr. Bernstein, and it honestly looked like the Derby and Joan Club. Now that Mr. Bernstein's left the Derby and Joan Club, I think he looks like an isolated figure within that setup.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I think he's very popular within the FA simply because he is that sort of safe and steady pair of hands. He's not going to step out of line. He's not going to rock the boat. Now, I mean, it's kind of understandable why he's getting a bit cranky when you think that he's going into his third major tournament now and he's got no excuses. He had a free run at Euro 2012 and England were pretty poor there. Obviously, we had our worst ever World Cup in 2014. And now he's blessed with all these attacking young players, and
doesn't know how to use them.
He has to deliver this time. There's no.
He won't, no, Simon.
About
it's not going to happen because you made the point there, which nobody has said actually in the preparation for this particular tournament. We had the worst ever run in the World Cup, in any World Cup, under Roy Hodgson, right? He shouldn't even still be the manager. He shouldn't be there at all because he is incapable of making the team play properly. And, the idea that somebody like Gary Neville comes out the other day and says,
give him another 2 years.
Excellent work over the... he had a terrible World Cup. It was horrendous.
Let's be honest, any other nation, he would have been bombed out. He is a lucky man. That's what I go back to, what I was saying about how he's popular within the FA hierarchy because he's just that classic sort of suit, steady pair. He fits in there, and it's better the devil you know. But I just hope that it's almost got to that stage where I just hope for once we are lucky. It's going to be more by luck than judgment, I think.
I think you're absolutely right. Simon, we've got to leave it there, unfortunately. That's Simon Johnson, he's from the Evening Standard. Just remember those words. The worst ever performance in a World Cup under any England manager.
But you're going back 2 years. We all knew that then.
No, but we've forgotten it.
No, we haven't. I haven't forgotten it. I said he should never have been allowed to be in charge of an England football team again.
Well, we're now remembering it again. This is Talk Sport.
Got the ball. He's got a clear run up the outside, past the washing line, round the missus. He shoots!
Ooh. Make the most of a summer of sport at Asda and pick up 20 cans of Carlsberg for just £10. Asda. Save money, live better.
Selected stores subject to availability. Max 6 per customer. Over 18s only. Drink aware.
The Two Mikes. Simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Hey! The sun goes down like a bad, bad dream. You end up tight, gotta let off steam. They say they can break you again and again. If life is a radio, turn up to 10. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy.
Talk Sport, we are the Two Mikes. Coming up, it's the Porky quiz on Clint Eastwood, of course. Dan says, guaranteed 0 out of 10 this week for Porky, seeing as he's probably been swatting up on Lee Clintwood.
Yeah, well, you know, I did have to take that in, obviously.
Now, I just want to share something with you, because I don't know whether you may or may not have heard this.
You want to share something with me?
I do,
It sounds ominous,
Yeah, Ray Wilkins
The only
was
thing you usually share with me is a bar bill. Yes, go on.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. I bought you some beer earlier on today, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Mr. Ray Wilkins was in doing the sports breakfast the other day.
I know, Ray.
And they had one former England manager, Sven Göran Eriksson, on.
Oh,
and I don't know whether you heard. I don't know whether you heard the end of the interview and how Ray signed off. Did you hear it?
No.
Have a listen to this.
Listen, Sven, it's been a real treat to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very, very much indeed for joining us there from Shanghai. Thank you, Sven.
Cheers, Sven. Enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, you think that's weird?
No.
Enjoy your life.
No.
Enjoy your life.
No.
But why would you say that to somebody as if you're never going to see them again? They're going to die. Enjoy your life.
Enjoy your life.
Yeah. It sounded a bit ominous. You know, he might have added, or what's left of it. You know what I mean?
Although
actually,
I'm sure Sven's having a whale of a time down in Shanghai.
Well, I was about to say, the reason Ray said that is you've got to take the whole interview in context. Earlier in the interview, he had said, and how's things going in China, Sven?
Yeah.
And Sven said, well, the benefits of China are this, that, and that, and that, and that. And all Ray said at the end was, you know, it sounds great.
No, I'm sure
enjoy your life.
Yeah, but it was just the way it came out. It sounded like enjoy your life.
Enjoy your life.
What's left of it? You know, because there's not much of it left.
Listen, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about before the show ends tonight.
Okay.
Prince.
Yes.
Now,
he dies of a drug overdose.
The drug he took was 100 times more potent than morphine.
How can it be 100 times more potent than morphine?
50 times more potent than heroin.
I wonder about that.
I mean,
I do wonder about that. Because, I mean, you know, I've never taken morphine, I've never taken heroin, but I know people who have been in hospital, I know, who have been given morphine.
Yeah. And they say up the morphine dose when the pain
all of them
raises,
say that the feeling that you get from being on morphine and the pain that it takes away is quite remarkable.
Yeah.
But they also say that it completely wipes you out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine something being 100 times stronger than that.
Well, it says it is. My mate, Gordon Ducker, was on morphine.
Right?
He had stomach cancer.
Charlie Uncle.
Charlie Uncle, as he was known, yeah. He died, unfortunately, but I mean, so as we all do. But we took him to, in his last few days, we took him to...
You see the time, by the way?
Yeah, we took him to Joe Allen. It didn't work out well, but I'll tell you about that later.
Right. What, did you have to pay?
Well, I had to pay for a car to take him home, and he felt ill.
Oh, OK. Tekkers has tweeted us in. He says Leeds began in blue and white stripes, switched to blue and yellow in the 30s and carried on until 1961 and then went all white.
Yeah.
Apparently that was because Don Revie quite liked the old Real Madrid strip.
Don Revie said to them, he said, but changing the strips to all white. And when Billy Brown said white, I said, I want you to believe that you're as good as Real Madrid. Yeah. And they became as good as Real Madrid.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
As an addendum, he says also Juventus started off in pink strips.
Who?
Juventus.
Yeah, I know, but that was in 1800 and whatever, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Yeah, but anyway...
Everton started off. I've got one of their original shirts at home. Black shirt with a pink stripe from shoulder to waist.
Oh, like a sash?
Yeah, sash, yeah. That's right,
That's what Peru have, isn't it? They have like a red sash on a white shirt.
And a string tie-up at the top of the shirt like a vest.
By the way, I found you some of these stickers if you want. Look.
I don't want them,
They're outside, look.
I don't want them.
I don't want them. I'll tell you what else I found outside. This is a massive problem.
Yeah.
And I must raise this with you because I have to put you on the spot here.
Yes.
I have to look into your eyes.
Yeah.
And I have to ask you a very, very serious question.
Go on.
The Porky quiz is on Lee Clintwood, otherwise known as the man with no name.
Yes.
Or the other man with no name.
Yes.
Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
As I went outside to take care of some paperwork, there was a copy of the quiz questions sitting on a desk.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Left there by one of our technical staff.
Well, I wish I'd seen it, but I didn't.
Are you sure you didn't see it?
I
have to ask you that, because, I mean, obviously, if you haven't... I don't think you've seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Because it wasn't near where you were sitting.
Haven't seen it.
But it was sitting there face up,
yeah,
and you would have passed it on your way into the studio.
I can promise you I did not see it. How long has it been there?
Well, it's been there since the quiz questions came in at around about 1 o'clock. Just before 1, actually.
Just before we started.
Yeah.
Well, I can say, hand on heart, in all honesty, I have not seen those quiz questions.
You were a bit late coming into the studio.
No, I wasn't late coming to the studio. I'm always getting my gear together. I have my own headphones, which I have to program and all that kind of stuff.
You have to program them?
Indeed, I do. Because I need the sound balance levels to be right to cope with you.
And you have to get about the faux leather bag. Listen, I'm convinced that you haven't seen them.
Right.
But I just wanted to look in your eyes.
Okay, look in my eyes.
Mano a mano.
Look in my eyes, look in my eyes.
I did not, telling the truth.
I wish I'd known they were there, and if I had, I can tell you now, I would have cheated and I would have looked at them and not told you.
I know that.
But unfortunately, I didn't.
Yes, okay. No, I believe you.
Yeah, okay.
I believe you.
And now you can have your cards back, because I've looked at them, and I don't know at least 2/3 of the players.
Really?
Because they all
Only
play for, like,
1/3
foreign
of your
teams.
cards work.
Yeah,
What do you mean they all play for foreign teams? We're about to go into the Euros. You're supposed to know all these players.
Yeah, well,
Now, what's the story with the car today, by the way? Because you left yesterday morning, saying that you were going to have to take it into Mercedes to have it tested.
Well, remarkably, the computer sort of righted itself, halfway home last night, and all the tyre pressure things went off, and it's just normal.
So it was just one of those blips.
Yeah, I think it's just one of them blips. Yeah,
maybe it's a sunstorm or something.
What worries me, of course,
solar storm. Those things that mess around with your electronics.
Could be like one of them meteorite passing overhead or something.
Yeah.
But what really worries me is that it's all very well when you're pootling around in Greater London and the environs of Surrey to get home at sort of 4:30 in the morning. What worries me is if I'm going at great speed down the A3 to Gosport
without exceeding the speed limit.
Without exceeding the speed limit, and the right forward tyre blows out.
Yes.
I could have a problem.
Yes. Although if you're going to have a tyre blow out, you want to be in a car like that.
Of course you would.
Because it probably will react better than most cars.
With a driver like me, whose reactions and reflexes were once monitored as being just short of the speed of light.
What?
My reflexes.
Not monitored by whom?
By a guy who was a...
Was it a guy in a Rolex shop? Was it?
No.
White coat.
No. He was an
scientist.
No, it was when I was a young reporter on the Chester Chronicle.
Oh, yeah.
A number of us had to go to this science laboratory and do all the tests to see how much mass body weight we had.
Is this like your trip to the shooting range?
Yeah, sort of
thing. It was like an office party.
It wasn't office party. It was actually supposed to be a test. But one of the things you do is you sit there, and when a light comes on, you have to touch a button. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's sort of test they give to monkeys, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah. And I was the fastest by a mile. And the guy said, your brain works at just short of the speed of light, which I thought was a great endorsement, really, for the rest of my career.
Yeah,
probably why I've done so well.
I don't think he was being serious.
No, he was.
Have you ever been in a skid?
On a car?
Yeah, in a car. Yeah.
Only in ice.
In ice.
Yes, and it's frightening because you've completely lost control of the car and you don't know what's going next.
You see, I know how to control a car in a skid.
Well, you steer into the skid,
I took a rally driving course.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
I used to drive in a rally car.
Every single story I tell, you have to tell another one.
I was a navigator in a dealer team Vauxhall.
Yeah, but I've actually driven it.
Yeah, but I was the navigator in a rally in the middle of the night in the that great forest in Northumberland, Kielder Forest.
The forest.
Yeah, and we went into the River Cokie talking about cars sliding. Yeah.
Was that because you were navigating?
No, because the driver lost control of the car and came off the road and over the riverbank and boom, in we went.
Did you come back out again?
No, stayed in there.
You would, you think you would if it was the River Cokie, wouldn't you?
No. Oh, you mean the Okie-Kokie? Yeah, I see what you mean.
Now, how about this from Craig?
Yes.
Everyone's forgotten Koeman cynically stopped us from qualifying for USA 94. Should have seen red and then scored the winner. #cheat. Do you remember
that? No, what was that?
Well, I presume he's talking about the World Cup in 94. Would that be right?
World Cup in 94...
Koeman must have been playing for Holland.
Was in the United States.
That's what he says, USA 94.
Oh, I see, right, yeah, OK.
He should have been sent off, according to Craig.
Should he?
And then he scored the winner.
Oh, well, it sounds really like he's a very clever man.
England didn't qualify for that one, did they?
No, he didn't, no. And a big delegation.
In the World Cup qualifiers, Koeman must have scored a goal that kept us out.
Oh, well, I don't
That's
know
what
about
he's
that.
saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Forgive and forget.
You need to have had a varied career to be a rounded manager, do you not? Now, listen, you don't...
This is brilliant. Look at this.
What's
this is fantastic.
Let's have a look.
It's a picture from Woodenhead.
Oh, yes.
And it's in preparation for the Lee Clintwood Dirty Harry quiz. Dirty Parry.
Dirty Parry. And me wielding a Magnum.
Yeah.
A Magnum 4.4, the most powerful handgun in the world.
Yes.
So the question is, Punk, Do you feel lucky?
Question is, will there be a question on it?
Do you feel lucky, Punk? Yeah. Yeah, good thinking.
Right.
Now then, what were we doing at the London Evening Standard today?
We went over there to make a video.
We did.
Which was going to promote not only our trip to Dingwalls, which is a week tonight, funnily enough.
Which is in London, of course.
Which is in London, in Camden.
Yes.
But also to promote our showing up at the Edinburgh Festival at the end of August. Where we're doing 3 nights in a row. That's going to
and a load of people
wear
started
you out.
buying tickets.
They have. That's going to wear you out, isn't it?
No,
3 nights on the trot.
No, because I will abstain from drink over those 3 days.
Really?
Yes.
In Edinburgh?
Yes.
For 3 days?
Yes.
What are you going to do?
I'm just going to behave myself and...
I can actually give you a list of places to go. You know, if you need to, like, occupy your time. Well, if you're not going to go drinking, and we're not going to go for lunch...
Yes.
Well, I mean, we're not going to go for lunch?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Dinner?
Maybe.
But what I'm saying is if you don't want to do any of that, Edinburgh Castle is a fantastic place to visit.
Yes.
They've got some crown jewels there, which are worth a look. And they've got some very nice... Because it's actually still an operational barracks at the same time as being, you know, the...
so there's a few soldiers there, is there?
There are quite a few soldiers there.
Yes,
You can go to... the Scottish Parliament and walk around there, check it out.
Yeah, I think I might
see where your tax dollars went.
I might go and have a round of golf at one of those great golf courses. You see,
you can't play golf.
Of course I can.
No, you can't. You are not good enough to play golf at any of the good courses around.
I've got a set of made-to-measure clubs made for me by Callaway to my exact measurements.
Yeah, right. You could have bought them in Toys R Us the same size.
How funny is that?
I'll tell you what, your mate Ian Poulter's not doing very well.
Now, Poults is in danger of missing the Ryder Cup, is he not?
He is.
Because he's not qualifying and all that kind of stuff. So what he's done is, hasn't he, he's taken a gamble. He's missed a ranking event, hasn't he, to try and go and win a sort of lesser competition, but it would boost his standing in terms of being eligible for the Ryder Cup team, okay?
Yeah, right.
And he's a great guy, as you know. I played with him. And,
well, you played with him, but I mean, ever since you played with him, he hasn't done very well, really, has he?
Well, do you know when I played with him, he was the number 4 golfer in the world.
That's what I mean. And what is he now?
About 234 or something. No, seriously.
I know.
But I mean, no, it hasn't been a decline ever since. He sort of went up and down in the top 10. And then I think really age just overtook him, I suppose.
Right.
Do you know that...
have you seen Troon are now going to vote on having women members?
Yes, very good thing as well.
And they're going to have the vote just before the Open.
They are indeed, yeah.
Which is probably going to go yes, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would say it is as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I found odd is Lee Westwood.
Yeah.
I think he's in the 200th...
percentile? Or whatever you call it.
I think he's in the 200s ranking places. And, you know, the other night we had a brief conversation about, well, hang on, he was used to be the number 1 golfer in the world, but I said, well, he never won a major.
That's right.
And still hasn't. And now he's 230-something in the world. And yet, both those men, neither of whom have won a major, I suppose Lee Westwood's got a bit closer, because I think he's been in 2, if not 3 playoffs, you know, have a fortune in excess of £30 million.
Yeah.
Golf is worth getting into, even if you don't win anything.
Well, it is if you get to that level.
Yeah.
Now, just a couple of words of explanation about the Koeman incident.
Right.
Apparently, Koeman pulled David Platt back when he was through on goal, and the referee only gave a free kick.
Yeah.
Then he took a free kick and got a second chance when the referee decided the ball moved too early, and he scored it by chipping it over Seaman.
Yeah, and then the second goal was when Bergkamp handled it.
2-0
in the World Cup qualifier.
So if you end up with a manager at Everton who has basically done England out of qualifying for a World Cup, I'm not sure how well that sits with a lot of people.
Well, I would call that a fantastic example of rat-like cunning, and you need rat-like cunning in any area of life.
Really?
Yes.
Abdul says this: can we please have Porky's jinx on the Cavs in tonight's NBA Finals, which has just kicked off?
In what?
Tipped off is actually the official word.
Oh, yeah?
It's the NBA Finals. Best of 7.
Really?
Cleveland Cavaliers away to the Golden State Warriors in Oakland. Right?
Oh, sorry. I was feeling
Who do you think's going to win the game?
I don't know, and I don't care. Is Steph Curry playing?
He is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him earlier. He looks like, any other basketball player in the world.
Yeah, but he's very wealthy, so you should admire him.
No, I don't admire him at all. He's playing a game that's only ever played in America.
That's not true. It's in the Olympics. Plank.
Yeah, OK. And where else has it played in the world?
It's played all over the place.
Rubbish.
It's played in Eastern Europe an awful lot. It's played in this country.
No, but there's no professional basketball players in this country.
Yeah, there are.
There aren't.
There are.
No,
there's a British player playing in the NBA.
No. Well, OK. Well, that's a professional player over there, but not over here, I'm telling you.
Are you? Really?
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
4! Straight down the middle.
It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle, like they say.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. The Porky quiz coming up on Clint Eastwood a little bit later on. Somebody just found that picture of you with Ian Poulter from way back
there you
when.
go.
And,
there you go.
And it says, Charlie says, Mike Parry's more likely to make the Ryder Cup team than Ian Poulter.
Well,
at this point.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Those shorts I've got on that picture, if you want to retweet it, are the clothes brand that Ian Poulter started and now runs.
Well, I can't actually see that they are shorts because the picture doesn't go that far down your legs.
They've got the tartan pattern, blue and white tartan pattern, and he gave them to me because of the sort of Everton connection and gifted them to me. I still have them. They're my prized pair of shorts.
Now, here's one from FC. It says, if you can't remember Koeman's cheating against England, you need a smack round the face.
Well,
it's a bit harsh.
Who calls it cheating? I would call it opportunism, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, I think there is an awful lot of debate around what players do, depending on which team you happen to support. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's not exactly a sort of Thierry Henry handball, is it, in the area and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Timco says this, MG, can you ask Porky if you ever met Keith Waterhouse when he was younger? I'm sure Billy Liar is based on him.
Oh, no, Billy Liar's not based on me. I did meet Keith Waterhouse, but first time I met him was in Greenwich Village, in the Apple in New York. And what happened was, I never liked reading Keith Waterhouse. Now, Keith Waterhouse is dead. You don't speak ill of the dead. No. So, sorry, Keith, if you're listening.
His column was very much a sort of, in the Daily Mail, was very much a sort of acquired taste, wasn't it?
Well, I'm just saying, all I'm doing is being critical of a newspaper column, okay? I'm not having a go at him, but he started off...
He was a great guy.
Well, he started off for years working for the Mirror, right?
Yeah.
He was a Mirror man, the old working-class, northern, gritty Mirror. Yeah. And then he kind of outgrew the Mirror, because the Mirror became a tabloid newspaper rather than a symbol of the working classes and all that. And so he moved to the Mail. But I totally agree with you. I could never fathom his column out. I mean, I couldn't...
Well, it was all about certain characters, and I
couldn't make out where it started or what was in the middle.
It was very cleverly done, but you're right. I mean, it wasn't a journalist column, was it?
It was too clever for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went to somebody's party in Greenwich Village, and... there was a reporter on the Daily Mirror in New York, in a massively inflated Mirror bureau when Paul Coney was running it, and he had people in there sitting around all day because he wanted to create an empire.
He used to hire Mickey Brennan just to sit there in case he was taking pictures.
On $500 a day, and they never had anything to do. But he liked to be, in charge. He had his own office, like to be in charge of an empire. And with Robert Maxwell running the Mirror back in London, who, didn't care about costs, it all seemed to fit in.
Right.
But anyway, David Bradbury, who never got a story in the paper at all, who was a guy he was a fat, sweating man with glasses who used to spend all his life in restaurants. He used to go to a restaurant for breakfast in New York, and then he'd come in the office for an hour, and then he'd say, oh, time for lunch now. It'd be midday, and I'll go off to Costello's for a couple of hours, and then go to a restaurant and come back about 4 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock he'd say, oh, better go and have a couple of heart warmers before dinner.
I've got to pop out and get something.
Yeah, and he'd go and have a couple of hours then before he'd go to some swanky restaurant in New York for dinner. But he spent all his life eating, and his bodily form, which was quite repulsive, really, sort of reflected that. So anyway, we're down in this party, and he came to me and said, and he was very pompous, David, oh, Michael, how are you? How are you? I said, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, I'm great, yeah. Tell me, have you met Waterhouse?
Yeah.
I said, who? Waterhouse. I said, Keith Waterhouse, a legend. And I said, I'm not sure I have. He said, colleague of mine for 35 years, because, of course, David had been on the Mirror 35 years, and that's where Keith Waterhouse started.
Right.
And I said, he said, I'll soon fix that for you. And I didn't really care. Anyway, about 5 minutes later...
You've never been a particularly cultured man, have you?
Well, no, I didn't really care
because...
because...
You only wrote Billy Liar. Why wouldn't you want to meet the guy that wrote Billy Liar?
Well, OK, fair enough.
Because it's a pretty amazing production.
Yeah, I agree.
A very successful book.
Who was that? Tom somebody?
You said to say Tom Courtney.
Tom Courtney.
I believe it might have been. I was thinking more of the play in London.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of the film.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was embarrassing because about 5 minutes later, I got a tap on the shoulder. I turned around and there's David. Michael, look who I've brought to see you. It was Keith Waterhouse.
Did you not recognise him?
Yes, I did recognise him because he had long hair down to his shoulder. He always did.
Sort of white hair.
Yeah, long sort of white hair. And I said, "Oh, Keith," I said, "Great to meet you. How are you?"
He was usually quite well bladdered as well.
Yeah, he was, actually. He had a home in Yorkshire on the cliffs overlooking the sea, and at 5 o'clock every night, his secretary was instructed...
And his secretary was almost like his sort of... She did everything for him, didn't she?
I think they became romantically attached.
I think they did, yeah.
But she was told never to disturb him during the day when he's writing, but at 5 o'clock every night to come in with a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses, and they would sit there and watch the sea crashing in over the waves and talk about the day's events.
Right. Well, and in later years, maybe something else.
Yeah, exactly. And so a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
But anyway... I said, "Oh, hello, Keith," and he just said, "Yeah, hello, Mike," and gave me a limp handshake. And that was it. I mean, I didn't have anything else to say to him. I didn't particularly want to meet him. I wasn't being rude or anything, but it was no interest to me because I didn't
you're
like
not interested in meeting anybody else, really.
Well, I didn't like his...
You're only really interested in other people meeting you so you can tell them all about your life.
But what was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to say to Keith, "Oh, Keith..."
Well, don't you indulge in small talk?
Well, you can't small talk these guys.
What
was I supposed to say to him? What would you have said to Keith Waterhouse? You met him for the first time.
When I met Keith Waterhouse for the first time, I just engaged in a whole conversation with him.
About what?
Well, I think it started off with, "Oh, hi, Keith, how are you? What are you doing in New York?" He started telling me that he was in New York for a month because he was working on a new version of some book or other he was doing. And he said, and I also had great respect for him because he'd once written the Daily Mirror Book of Style, which was all about which words you should use in newspapers, how you should use conjugation and all that kind of thing.
Intensely boring.
Not intensely boring at all for those of us who actually write for a living. And I said,
like me, yeah,
you write for a living, do you?
Yes.
Anyway, so we had a very
How many books have you had published?
I haven't had any books published, and I've explained to you before.
Right, okay.
The reason I haven't had any books published is that I wouldn't let any rubbish, any old dirge crap be put out there for the.
God, your malice and envy against me for being a published author with a best-selling book in the Sunday Times list.
Was inky black.
Yeah, well.
The snow was as white as a tin of Dulux paint.
Well, I'm sorry, mate, but if that's what Mr. Brazil tells me, I'll write it down. Simple as that. You'd have made it up, obviously.
No, it's more projection coming from you. 100 copies for £1. I think you'll find.
No.
Anyway,
so you'll find that sold 100,000 copies.
We had a very pleasant conversation about New York, where places that you like to go.
And where was this?
This was in Costello's when I first met him.
Right, okay, yeah.
But the funniest story about Waterhouse, as I've told you before, was that during that month, we got to know him quite well because he would arrive in Costello's every afternoon.
What was he doing there?
He was writing a book or something.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And he wanted to be in New York away from his normal setting.
Yeah.
But he's a very wealthy guy.
Yes.
So he was in a hotel or something.
That's right, yeah.
And he came in one day, slightly 4 sheets to the wind, at about 6 p.m. And he declared that he'd fallen in love with this woman that he'd met in the meatpacking district. The meatpacking district in those days was nothing like it is now.
I know,
it was very trendy.
Soho,
it was basically it was sort of west side, kind of just below Chelsea,
that's right,
above the village.
Yeah.
And it was all kind of old warehouses and stuff like that, But what it was famous for was she-males. These hookers who are actually not women, men.
So ladyboys.
Ladyboys, basically. But they looked very convincing if you were not exactly sober.
Yeah.
And he'd apparently met one of them.
In a bar?
Nothing had happened. No, he'd been in a cab and he stopped the cab.
Right.
And he'd started talking to this woman through the cab window. Yeah. And, of course, she'd want to get in the cab. And the cab driver was like, "No, man, you can't do that here. Not in my cab, you know." And they took off. And he said, "I want to go back." He said, "But I want one of you guys to come with me, because obviously I don't know." And I said, "Look," and I tried to explain to him that, these are not women.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think you should want to go back down there. He would not be convinced.
Good God.
And he ended up staggering out into the night about 3 hours later. He said, "I'll go down there anyway."
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he did or not.
Well,
I don't know whether he
did you ever see him again?
We did see him again.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
dodgy business.
It was not clear whether anything actually ever happened.
Exactly,
But it was very weird.
Yeah, very strange indeed.
Yeah.
But anyway, he died, didn't he, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago?
He did, yeah.
And he just died of old age.
Yeah, and I mean, a very, very wonderful life that he had.
Yes, exactly.
How about this from Simon in Sheffield?
Yeah.
Can you say happy birthday to my wife, Jane?
Right.
I hope she likes the lollipop I got her.
Oh, really? Well, I got my friend a lollipop, and I got a note today saying how grateful she was and what a lovely little present it was, yeah.
What a lovely little present.
Yes.
Do you not think she was being ironic?
No, because it illustrates...
she actually meant that?
Of course she did. It illustrated, fun and gaiety and sense of, celebration, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And that's what it's meant to illustrate. What's the lady's name again? Jane.
Jane,
a very happy birthday.
Remember that.
Yeah, I can remember.
I mean, you had a girlfriend called Jane.
How old is she?
He doesn't say. You don't ask a lady's name.
All right, well, Jane, I want to congratulate you on your birthday, and you have reached a magnificent age, and you will have many more.
Shall we give her the Ray Wilkins, goodbye?
Yeah. Have a great life.
Have a great life.
Enjoy your life.
To learn how to love and forget how to hate. A
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, and of course, it is the Clint Eastwood quiz coming up. Have you got prepared for your trip to the Derby, by the way?
Yes, I'm going on Saturday with Mr. Brazil.
Yeah.
Now, Jason's there tomorrow.
Jason's there tomorrow.
Jason's there doing the breakfast show.
Later on today.
Yeah, later on, 3.5 hours.
I think he just finished the sports bar and he tweeted out that he was going to drive down there.
From here?
Yeah.
So maybe they've got him into the Holiday Inn overnight.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah, because that's right onto the course.
Yeah, right.
I think that's where Al's staying.
Well, because otherwise he'd have to go home and sleep for like 2 hours.
Yes. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. We've all done that.
No, I know, we have all done that, but I mean, it's an unusual thing if you haven't done it before.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, now listen, we were going to talk to Sandra tonight in Australia, but fortunately for her, but sadly for us, she's involved in a bit of business, so she can't talk to us. But I was going to ask her about a story which came into my information device this week, and that is that here in Britain, we're looking at an experiment in Australia in which motorists can now be fined for passing bikes too close to the machine itself. You've got to
giving it enough space.
You've got to stay a metre away from a bike. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Now this has been introduced in Australia.
Yeah. Is it in one particular state or is it nationwide?
It's South Australian government.
Okay.
Minimum passing distances have been imposed in countries such as France, Germany, Spain, and Portugal. But the main protagonists are the South Australian government.
Yeah.
They introduced its own law last October requiring drivers to give cyclists a minimum of 1 metre when passing on roads with speed limits of 40 miles an hour and 1.5 metres at greater speeds.
Well, do you know, it is part of the Highway Code, and I know you didn't do too well when we did a quiz on the Highway Code, but if you look in the Highway Code, the recommendation is that you give cyclists at least a metre.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, honestly, I've looked it up. Do you know what the recommendation is?
Yeah.
The wording is, quote, plenty of room.
No, but have they not got a little diagram?
Nope.
I'm sure I saw that.
No.
I'm sure I saw that. Well, I'm sure people will tweet in
I had a look.
if I'm incorrect about that.
No, it says plenty
but also,
of room.
there are loads of parts of London now, where, particularly where there are roadworks, you see those signs, do not overtake cyclists.
Oh, yes.
So not only make sure you give them enough room, actually don't overtake them at all.
Now, they're thinking of introducing its law in this country with a fine of a maximum of £5,000 and fixed penalty points. So you get 3 points if you get done for that, OK?
Yeah.
Follows concerns that many cyclists are put off travelling on inner-city roads because of motorists who drive too close. Well, look, has the world gone mad? To start off with,
I don't object to them.
They've gone completely mad.
Well, hang on. As long as they've got wide enough roads. For example, in America, you could always give people a big berth when you're passing them because the road is about as wide as 3 lanes.
An airport
country.
runway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in London and in many places
Ridiculous.
in country roads, if you go a metre away from the curb, you're going to be driving on grass.
When I was sitting in that stationary traffic jam for most of Sunday afternoon,
when you went the wrong way,
trying to get west out of London. It is galling to see a huge wide blue strip called the cycle lane alongside the congested road and nobody is using it. Nobody. No bicycles or anything.
Right.
When you're trying to turn left at a junction and there's no traffic within sight anywhere at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m., but the light says red because it has changed to allow cyclists to cross in front of you.
Yes.
But there are no cyclists.
Yeah.
Not one, ever. I've never, ever seen a cyclist cross in front of me when I've been stopped by the traffic light for the cycle lane. The world has gone mad.
Well, it has, and I know what you're saying, and I know that cycling is a big bugbear, particularly in London and all of that. But I mean, I don't have a problem if you are, as I say, with plenty of room.
How much do they pay in taxes towards the upkeep of these roads?
They don't pay anything in taxes.
Nothing.
Except
zero.
But that is a little bit of a
Zilch.
hackneyed old argument.
No, it's not.
Because most people who have bikes will tell you that they don't just have a bike. Some of them have cars as well, and so they pay their road tax for their car, which they're not using. They're on a bike instead.
Yes.
Some of them will say that they pay taxes, generally speaking, throughout the year on other things, so that it's not they don't contribute anything at all. And some of them will say as well that actually the whole point of the road tax system is not that it's a tax to use the roads, it's a tax on emissions, which is kind of true.
Now, Chris Boardman, who is now, I didn't realise this, policy advisor to British cycling and a former Olympic gold medal winner, obviously, he says, we know that many people are put off cycling when a vehicle passes too close to them. Rather than leave it down to individual interpretation, we'd like to see specific reference made in the Highway Code to minimum safe overtaking distances. So, we're being bullied now by environmentalists to start including new passages in the Highway Code, which don't need to be there.
Yeah, but you don't want to pass a cyclist and put them in fear of their life because you've gone too close to them, do you?
No, of course I don't, and I always give cyclists a wide berth, because the last thing I want to do is
and
intimidate them.
What would you describe as a wide berth?
As wide as I possibly can get from them when I'm overtaking them.
Which is what?
4 feet, 5 feet,
Yeah.
I don't care. You know,
You don't care?
I'll cross
You
the white
don't
line.
care?
I'll cross the white line.
Will you?
Yeah, I want to stay as far. I don't like cyclists. I want to stay as far away from them as I possibly
I'll
can.
tell you when it gets difficult, actually.
Yeah.
I've had this situation
Yeah.
where, you know, with a lot of roads, you've got little traffic islands in the
Yes.
middle of them,
Yes.
and you're coming up against a cyclist,
Yeah.
and there's not very much traffic around.
Yeah.
But as you near the island, you basically, if you pass the cyclist as you're passing the island,
Yes.
that's too close.
Yes.
So you have to slow down.
I totally agree.
So you either get into the situation where you have to speed up
Yeah.
and probably go over the speed limit to get around him
That's
before
right.
the island comes
That's
up,
right.
or you have to slow down
Yeah.
and wait until he's gone through the island.
Yeah.
Or you do the completely mad thing, go on the other side of the island.
Down in my place in
It's not
Gosport,
recommended.
down in my place in Gosport, they haven't actually got round yet to building cycle lanes.
Yeah.
They just paint this ridiculous sort of 9-inch wide white line from the pavement out into the road,
Yeah.
and paint a bike in it, designate it as the bike area.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Right.
That's even worse because when I want to pull into my apartment block in Gosport,
Yeah.
I have to turn left off the main road.
Yes.
But I have to be very, very careful
Right.
I don't turn into a cyclist.
Right,
And-
because there's a lane.
Yeah.
Has
and-
it got an actual stop
No.
thing? Because
No,
you
no.
know here on Blackfriars Road,
Yeah.
they've got, if you're coming up and you want to turn left
Yes.
across the cycle lane,
Yes.
they've actually got a double broken white line, which
Yeah.
means you have to stop
Yeah.
while you're turning left, which is actually dangerous.
Of course it
because
is.
somebody's going to bang into the back
Yeah,
of you.
of course it is. Yeah, it's ludicrous. And the thing is, what I would say is that if I'm 100 yards away from the turning I want to take left, okay,
Yeah.
I literally stay behind the bike because it is so difficult to anticipate
Yeah.
the speed of a cyclist. 1 minute they're just trundling along, the next minute they're belting along.
Yeah.
And two things. A, I don't want to obviously injure them, but B, I don't want to smash into the side of my car.
I mean, I had one the other day. I think
Yeah.
it was last Sunday
Yeah.
when I was coming up to do the warm-up.
Yes.
And we're doing the warm-up again this Sunday, of course, at 11 a.m. Are we not?
11 till 2.
11 till 2.
Excellent.
Specially extended edition.
And what are you doing after that? Is there going to be a bladderation?
Well, it depends. I'll probably be going straight back down to Sussex because the kids go back to school on Monday.
Yeah, well, you've got to be
So
careful.
I'm not sure, you see. I'll have to take counsel on that one.
Yes, OK.
I saw them briefly yesterday because they came up to London, but they weren't here for
Excellent.
very long. But
Right.
I was coming up from Deptford up
Yes.
towards, and I apologise to anyone who doesn't know London that well because you always give me a hard time. Coming up from Deptford towards, the office here,
Yes,
basically.
yes.
And it was one of those mini roundabouts
Yes.
in the middle
Yes, I know
of
what
a
you mean.
road. So when you're coming on the main sort of drag,
Yes.
you generally speaking, you look to your right. If there's no car there, which there very rarely is,
Yes.
coming, you have to give way to, you just carry on.
Yeah.
You don't really stop, right? You're with me?
Yes, I'm
You're
with
not
you.
really
I am.
paying
I'm following.
attention, are you?
I'm following.
Now, as I near the white line, and I
Yeah.
was doing about 25, 28 miles an hour in a 30, this cyclist comes zooming out of the right-hand,
Yes.
place.
Yes.
And obviously he has the right of way, because if he was a car, I would stop.
Yeah.
But because he's a bike, one, I didn't see him until it was almost too
This
late.
is the danger
And
of
I
it.
slammed the brakes on, and I thought to myself, he looked, and he gave me this look like
Yeah.
I was in the wrong.
Yes.
I stopped,
Yeah.
but, I had to stop quite abruptly.
Yes.
Surely the sensible thing to have done from his point of view would have been to see me coming, give way to me, and then
Yeah.
just go afterwards.
Exactly, yeah.
But
No,
because
they
he
don't
was
think
one of
like
these-
that.
no, because he was one of these revolutionary types.
Oh, yeah.
He goes wailing,
Yeah.
wailing around the bend.
And I bet you was dressed in black lycra with a black cap and all that.
It was a bit like that.
Cycle hair.
It was a bit like that.
I will start being, more benign to cyclists when the police start stopping, prosecuting and fining cyclists who drive around in the middle of the night with no lights on
Right.
their bike.
Yeah.
It is everywhere.
I know.
Now, the first thing I was
I know,
told...
you go on about this a lot, though.
Sorry?
You do go on about this a lot.
I'm telling you, it happens all the time, and there's going to be a terrible accident one of these
Well,
days.
there are terrible accidents.
I know.
There was a cyclist killed yesterday.
Well, it's
There was
shocking.
another one killed the day before.
It's shocking.
And this is the point. I mean, that I suppose they want to make it safer
Yeah.
because people are
Well,
getting
put
killed.
some lights on your bikes then.
Yeah, I know.
They should have lights on their bikes in the daytime, never mind at night,
Yeah.
so that you know they're coming.
Maybe they
That's-
should have things that stick out as well, so that you can't go
Maybe.
so close to them.
Maybe, but that's the law for
You know,
for
like a plank or
motorcyclists. Motorcyclists have to have their lights on during the day now. Now, what I'm saying is, when I was a kid, the first thing you ever learn about getting a new bike for Christmas or anything like that is, have you got a battery in your back light and your front light,
Yes.
okay? Because that's what it was like in those days.
Yeah.
Until I got a super bike that was charged by the dynamo on the front wheel, which was brilliant.
It's not really
okay?
a super bike.
Yeah, well, it was, a bit.
You see, if you had a proper, decent racing
Yeah,
bike, you
yeah.
would never have had a dynamo on it because it weights it down.
Yeah, well,
it's
anyway,
too heavy.
Yeah, but anyway, the point of my story is
It's amateur hour,
you never went out on your bike in Chester, right, where I was brought up, without a light on
I
the
didn't.
front and the back.
And I used to take the back light was
That's
fixed
right.
on, but
That's
the front
right.
light used to be able to take off.
That's
wouldn't
right.
it?
You used to slide it on,
Used to
slide
ca-
it
yeah,
off, and
exactly.
take it with you.
Mark the
Yeah.
taxi says you'll also notice Chris Boardman has a big say over matters of cycling in London, a city he doesn't live in.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you
Yeah.
want to hear some really bad news?
Yeah, go on.
Which I heard this morning as I
Right.
was driving home
Right.
from the show.
Yes.
Tower Bridge,
Oh, it's going to be shut for 3 months.
3 months.
I heard that.
So October.
Yeah.
October, November, December.
Yeah.
It's going to be closed.
That is
completely closed.
It's a nightmare.
I'm not going to be able to get in.
It's a nightmare.
I mean, that's the way I come in.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So your alternative route, will you have to come down Lower Thames Street and go over Southwark Bridge?
Well, no, because I don't actually use the bridge. But what I'm saying is if they close that bridge, what it's going to mean is that all the traffic around the general area of from here to the Rotherhithe Tunnel is going to be completely knackered.
Nightmare.
Absolutely knackered.
Nightmare. I mean, it beggars belief. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen to this country. But we're going to get when the biking fad disappears, which it will, because people.
I don't think it will. It's the one thing that we've got as a legacy from the Olympics.
No, it's just trendy at the moment. It's a bit like
but it will be trendy for a long time.
No, it was trendy to have a skateboard once, but nobody's got a skateboard. Well, only the very worst sort of.
I never had a skateboard. You ever tried to ride a skateboard?
No, I wouldn't have a skateboard.
Have you ever tried to ride one?
No.
Why not?
What would I want to ride a skateboard for?
Well, because you're an expert in most sports.
No, I'm not. I've never touched a skateboard.
I think we should have a skateboard challenge.
And they built all these skateboard arenas all over the place.
Yeah, well, that's good. I don't have a problem with that.
They're all now closed down because people don't use them anymore.
That's not true.
No, it is true.
No, it's not true.
And
my
cycling
son is a massive skateboarder and he loves it.
Cycling will go the same way.
No, it won't.
It will.
You're completely wrong about that.
When people stop, trying to pretend that they're like, I'm an eco warrior, so I've got a bike, and then they find it a bit too hard to pedal around all the time. Honestly, it'll soon disappear.
Not true.
Don't worry about it. Now then, I want to tell you something that worries me as well.
Time now.
There aren't enough vicars.
What?
There aren't enough vicars.
What do you mean?
Too many vicars are getting old and retiring or dying.
Well, if they're anything like that guy in Grantchester.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They're more like him.
Well, there's not many like him coming through. This is the whole point.
Vicars.
Do you know they're going to have to start locking and padlocking churches because there's no vicars to handle?
Well, they're already doing that. You go to most churches in the countryside. You can't get in. Because people are going in stealing all the stuff.
Yes, it's right.
We'll talk some more about that. Also, we should do listography coming up.
We
need
a load more new female vicars to make up the loss. That's what I think.
Dibley types.
I think female vicars are great. My vicar down in on the coast is female.
What church is that?
So what do you mean?
What church is she at?
It's a Church of England church.
Yeah, what's it called?
It's in Ulverstoke.
What's it called?
It's called St Mary's. What's your problem?
Because I can tell when you're lying.
What's your problem?
This is Talk Sport. I didn't recognise this. Did you recognise this?
Is that an aria?
No, it's the. Do you mean an aria?
Yeah.
No, it's the Vicar of Dibley theme, apparently.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good, yeah.
I mean, I've never really... I mean, I've obviously watched it, but I've never watched it religiously, if you don't mind me saying so.
Religiously, yeah. I like it. I think it's great.
Do you? Why don't you recognise the tune, then?
I think Dawn... what's her name?
French
is very funny in that one. Very funny indeed.
I've never been a massive fan of Dawn French.
Well,
really.
I'm not always. But
I liked French and Saunders. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah, I thought she's very funny. But she's very funny in Vicar of Dibley. I thought she was great for the part. Perfect for the part.
Yeah.
Now then,
we've got to choose a listography.
Well,
right?
we certainly have.
We've actually gone through an awful lot of the ones that have been tweeted to us. So we're asking you to tweet us ideas for listography. We've got a couple here. One from Roy, female stars you've interviewed who made you weak at the knees.
Yes.
One from says, how about dinner guest, Dead or Alive, which we kind of have done in the past.
I think we've done that, yeah.
Your 3 favourite Olympic medals. I'm not sure what that one really would go with.
What, you mean gold, silver, bronze?
Well, no, it can't be. I mean, that's the kind of one that the paper would have done, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Olympic medals. I presume they mean actual events.
Medalists, maybe. Yeah.
Your top 3 sporting icons, which we've kind of done as well.
Well, that's too... I mean, that is too obvious, to be honest. Yeah, we need something a bit more of a challenge. So,
how about this one? 3 predictions on what each other will be doing in 5 years, career or personal life.
I quite like that.
3 things. You think you could predict 3 things that I'll be doing?
Yes, think
really?
so. Yes, think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that then.
Okay, very good.
3 things that we'll be doing in 5 years.
Yes, good.
That could be quite nasty.
No, I don't intend it to be nasty.
Really?
Quite realistic.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we shall see. Anyway, what did you want to tell me?
I've told you about the vicars and all that kind of stuff.
What about the vicars?
Well, do you know I've thought of a solution?
Have you?
You know that the government had this campaign over some time now that, if you've been made redundant, you're 45, become a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they want people with real life experience to suddenly,
That's a hard job, though, isn't it?
What, being a teacher?
Yeah.
I think I'd quite enjoy it, I suppose.
You'd be awful at that.
No, imparting my knowledge of life and specialist subjects into the minds of inquisitive teenagers, I think would be pretty good.
What you mean is, having a captive audience that you just spout your garbage at for 2 hours a day.
No.
And they'd have to take it all down and repeat it back to you.
No, it would be giving something back to the community and all that kind of stuff, right?
Because you love to do that, don't you?
Hey?
You love to give back to the community.
I do, indeed.
Like stale lager to the down and outs.
I do. So I think we've missed a trick here on these vicars, right? Because if you think about it, the current Archbishop of Canterbury used to be an oil trader.
He did.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, he should have used his experience to tour the country.
Yeah.
Excuse me, for some reason I've suddenly got a cough.
Oh, right.
But I'll tell you about that in a minute. Yeah. And try and recruit people into the clergy who had done other things.
Yes.
Right?
That's not a bad idea. I'll go with
Real
that.
life experience and all that kind of stuff, right? Which I think would be a great idea. And that way, not only would you solve a bit of the vicar crisis, but I think you'd make the church more attached to real life, right?
Yeah.
You got an idea?
Well, I think so, because, I mean, one of the problems of the church is that,
Too insular.
One, it's too insular. It doesn't attract enough young people.
I agree.
People see it as kind of rather fuddy-duddy.
I agree.
And also, there's just no reason. I mean, people believing in God, I think, is on the wane, to be honest.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think it's on the wane. But what I would say is, if this country ever becomes a non-Christian country, then I think we've only got ourselves to blame. Because, for instance, there's a planning...
Well, it kind of is, isn't it? Because there are more people who probably don't believe in God than do.
I'm talking about other religions.
Yeah.
And, for instance, when you read that there are planning applications already in progress for mosques that seat... Never mind seat 9,000 people.
9,000?
Yes, 9,000.
Maybe do a show there.
Well, you could, couldn't you? Yeah, you could, yeah.
Two Mike's Mosque Tour.
I mean, that's bigger than most football grounds in League Division 2.
Right.
Right? And when you think that, there are applications, and that's how seriously people of other faiths take their religion, then
well, I mean,
is it any wonder Christianity's struggling?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, all right, so in Islam, perhaps there's more people who believe in God than there is in what you would call Western, civilization as
indeed.
such. But, I mean, Christianity as such is definitely on the wane, I would say.
Now, I want to tell you something about coughing.
Coughing?
Right.
Well, you are coughing.
Well, I was a bit there, but fortunately I've been brought a glass of water, so I'll just have a quick sip, and I'll tell you why.
I didn't think you did that.
No, this is part of...
By the way, while you're doing that, did you see that story about the world's most expensive fish finger sandwich? Hey? Well, it's been created for the Queen's 90th birthday.
Bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Why?
Well,
it's been made by Birdseye.
Yeah, I know.
So it's proper fish fingers. Do you know what's in it?
Fish fingers.
Well, yeah, but sweet caviar, creamy saffron mayonnaise, edible gold leaf encrusted fish fingers.
Yeah. I wouldn't eat it.
187 quid.
Yeah, but I wouldn't eat it. It's too messy. I just like fish fingers on a plate with lemon and salt. Now, the cough I just told you about, right? How many times have you given a best man speech?
How many times? Actually, no, I don't think I ever have.
Right.
I've never done that.
Have you been a best man?
No.
No, neither have I.
No.
Neither have I. Nobody's ever asked me to be their best man.
No.
And
I think people are a bit frightened of asking me to make speeches, generally. Because remember,
in case you're bladderated.
No. It's just because I tend to be rather cutting. About them. I mean, my mother still hasn't forgiven
nasty,
me.
You mean? Yeah.
Well, not nasty. No, just sort of so edgy.
Your mother hasn't forgiven you for what?
She still hasn't forgiven me for the speech I gave at her 90th birthday.
Oh.
Because there was all these assembled people from Connecticut, right?
Yes.
Who were there.
Yes.
Many of whom, I have to say, with the best one in the world, are what you might describe as slightly boring.
Right.
Yeah. Very nice people. The Americans are very nice. They're very nice.
But they can be droll.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes.
And I swear quite a bit, and they kind of wince when they hear me talking
That's
sometimes.
Right.
And so I made this very kind of, shall we say, colourful speech about my mother.
Right. Okay.
Who's a very colourful woman.
Yeah, exactly.
About her past, about the things she'd done.
Yes.
About her credit card situations and that kind of thing. And some people, I think, were quite taken aback by it. And she said to me, later, she's kind of over it now. But she said to me, I think those people are now going to see me in a very different light. I said, well, what do you care?
Did she accuse you of ruining her party?
She didn't.
No.
But she said that she wished that I hadn't said some of the things that I said.
Yes. I know what you mean about the bland Americans.
Yeah.
My favourite ever advert on American TV is a load of these bland Americans who are standing round, with their glass in their hand. So it's a sort of, the sort of get-together you're talking about. And all you can hear is a sort of a murmur of conversation.
Yeah.
And then suddenly one woman leans over to the other and says, So do you, too, suffer from IBS? Irritable bowel syndrome? I mean, you know,
some terrible ads over there.
Like
almost every ad.
I think, the conversation's lulling a bit. I'll just inquire if anybody's suffering from irritable bowel syndrome.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Horrendous. No, it is terrible.
Yeah.
So why do you ask about best man? Are you thinking about getting married? Are you thinking about asking me to be your best man?
No.
Is this your way of doing it?
No.
Have you secretly found love?
No.
The first Mrs. Parry?
No, I've come across a book which...
a journal?
It's not even a journal, it's a pamphlet. A pamphlet which advises you how to write and deliver a best man speech, but it applies to speeches in business and all that. Do you know what the vital component of any speech is to get it over to your audience?
Well, you've got to make them laugh.
No, the cough.
What?
You have to cough.
Rubbish.
The perfect best man speech should take hours of work to assemble and be delivered with the help of a willing audience and a healthy dose of Dutch courage. No. However, those who wish to have their words go down in history may want to adopt one other unexpected tactic, and that is the cough.
Yeah.
A cough, according to leading academics, can help audiences concentrate on what the speaker has just said. It gives their brains a regular break to keep them fresh.
As almost like a bit of punctuation. You say something and then you cough.
Absolutely. Professor David Crystal, who is world-famous linguist, I've never heard of him.
Me neither.
Said a seemingly impromptu interruption was one of the keys to a great speech.
No.
He has studied, thousands of speeches over the years, and studies showed people can only pay attention for around 4 minutes without getting brain fatigue.
Yeah.
And then they need a break.
My view, basically, of and you've done plenty of public speaking.
Yes, I have,
we talk for a living.
Sure.
I don't think we need any lessons from the world-famous linguist on how to get an audience to be listening to you. But, basically, you have to make them laugh.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Make them laugh, they keep listening.
I totally agree. Now, he was speaking at the Hay Festival, like last week or something.
Yeah.
And he said the other tactics are to stop and take a sip of water, pretend to check your notes, or, most importantly, fake a cough at 4 to 5 minute intervals.
But this sounds like the kind of advice they give politicians.
Yeah.
You know, when you see people like Ed Miliband, who was not cut out for public speaking at all. You could see that somebody had said, right, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Do you remember Ian Duncan Smith, when he did the Quiet Man speech?
Yes, that's right.
The quiet man is raising up the volume.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
No, but he wasn't. No.
He just looked like a complete idiot.
Complete idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy's a professor, Professor Crystal.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that?
Well, you said
Professor
he was a
David
professor,
Crystal, He's author of a
time, by the way.
don't worry about the time. He's author of a book called The Gift of the Gab, How Eloquence Works.
Right.
And he says a drink of water is a very good idea, very handy. It only takes 5 or 10 seconds, but it's just enough for the audience to rest the batteries in their head.
Right.
I don't know. He says this applies to any event from a wedding speech to a business presentation. Professor Crystal said he advocated talking good-natured rubbish for the first few moments and keeping the most important facts till the end.
Well, of course, it all depends as well on who the audience is.
Yeah, of course
if it's a wedding where people are already sort of half cut, then you can get away with doing a lot more than if you're speaking to
absolutely.
The board of some company you're trying to impress, or some company that have hired you to do something. Anyway,
totally agree.
If you were to get married, right? Final question: would you make me your best man?
Well, I would have to think about that.
This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up in the next hour, it's going to be the Porky quiz on Clint Eastwood. Very, very exciting times because Porky, I think, does know an awful lot about Clint Eastwood films.
Yes.
How about this from Jim?
Yes.
In the unlikely event that Porky ever becomes a father and his child becomes a cyclist, he'll change his tune regarding his ranting against cyclists. There are rogue cyclists, just as there are rogue motorists. But the vast majority are reasonable people who are the most vulnerable of all road users, often in fear of their lives from incompetent, indifferent or malicious drivers, and who almost always come off a very tragic second best in the accident. Well, Jim, I don't know whether you live in London, but in London, I would say it's a very, very large majority of cyclists who, because of the danger of cycling in London, are actually quite aggressive and very malicious.
My children would be cycling on main roads anyway.
I've banned my daughter from cycling in London. She's 25.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
The reason I wouldn't invite you to be my best man is you would almost certainly try and Rogerise my bride.
Yeah, I probably would, actually.
You would?
Although, depending on what she looked like.
You're a disgrace.
I am. There is a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course, and for those of you who can't get off of the two mics, we're going to be back on Sunday with the warm-up from 11 o'clock. Porky's going to be down at Epsom on Saturday, so I dare say we could expect a few tweets from you during the course of the day.
Maybe.
Have you thought about looking at the old form yet and coming up with any tips or anything like that?
Well, not really, because I wouldn't advise anybody to bet on the horses I bet on, because I have a very strange way of working it out. Yes. I like to see what colours the horse is riding in.
Yeah.
I like to look at the character of the jockey.
Yeah.
I like to look at the horse on the day.
Yeah.
I like to get the feel around the track.
Uh-huh.
I like to look at what the trainer's record has been at Epsom, because remember, it's very, very wet at Epsom at the moment.
Yes,
It's been raining for the last 36 hours, virtually.
So the going will be soft.
The going will be soft indeed, and that affects some horses and not others, you know. And there's a lot to consider, an awful lot to consider.
Absolutely right. How about this from Becky? Porky should step in and fill the vicar void. His ecclesiastical ramblings are legendary, and he is related to Padre Parry.
Yes, indeed, of course.
We haven't heard from Padre Parry for a while.
No, we haven't heard from Padre Parry since Christmas, and people were rather disappointed that he didn't give a reading over Easter, which is, of course, a religious ceremony. But he will be giving a reading at the next religious ceremony that comes up.
When is that?
Is it Whitsun?
Whitsun, well, that'll be the end of... no, Whitsun's gone, hasn't it?
It's
That was
gone.
the last bank holiday.
It's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we do a sort of Porky sermon type thing, don't we, on Sunday?
Yes.
Or you interpret a little bit of the ecclesiastical writings.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll do a bit of that.
Yeah.
Now, I've got one here from James who says, unbelievable, Porky's telling the truth. He sent me a picture of the St Mary's C of E Church in Alverstoke, Hampshire. Is that it?
What?
The St Mary's Church. You said it was called St Mary's in Alverstoke.
That's it. That's the one.
So I actually got it right.
Yeah, but hang on. You branded me a liar.
Yeah, I did.
You said you're lying when I told you it was St Mary's.
Because you had a look on your face like you just plucked it out of the air.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you do it all the time.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No.
Well,
so that's pretty good, isn't it?
Congratulations.
It's got a nice little... Is that the entranceway you've seen there? That's the gate.
They've just got a name for that, isn't there? It's not a porch because it's not attached to the building, but it's it's got a name, isn't it?
Is it the...
As you go through the gate,
that's
a little sort of V-shaped roof.
What's it called?
It's got some kind of a name.
The Trapsin or something? Or the Trappist? The Trappist? Something like that.
The Trappist, a monk.
Yeah, the Trappist is a monk.
David says this, I've got a bike, but I don't know if I'm a proper cyclist. I don't own any Lycra, and I've got a basket on the front.
Right.
I don't think you are a proper cyclist, David.
Talking about cyclists, by the way, did you know that, I'm sure I mentioned this to you before, but I've actually got more information on it now.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a new show coming up on TV soon dedicated to train spotting.
Yes, I think you've mentioned this.
Right?
Yeah.
I've got more detail.
Have you?
It's amazing.
Why?
They think there'll be huge audiences for it.
Well, there probably will be. People love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's why these baking shows have all taken off.
Yeah.
People love cooking. They love baking.
That's right. But baking, yes, fine. But it's not like shameful to admit to being a fan of baking or making cakes or cookery.
No.
But it's shameful to admit to being a train spotter.
Well, it's not really shameful, but it's not exactly cool, is it?
No, it's not cool, yeah. But you can make it cool if you treat it the right way, you know.
I mean, do trains now even have... I mean, it's even worth spotting. I mean, my
think they have numbers.
Stupid joke about train spotting would be, you know, if you could see one that's actually coming, great, good luck to you, you know. But I mean, they're not exactly as different as they used to be in the days of the old steam trains, are they?
No, I totally agree. I totally agree.
By the way, it's 49-41 currently in the second quarter to the Golden State Warriors, for those people who are interested.
Where do they come from?
They come from California. They're playing in Oakland.
That's why it's called the Golden State.
Just over the other side of the San Francisco Bay, where the Oakland Raiders used to be.
I know where Oakland.
You know, remember when they had the earthquake and the road collapsed?
Yes, I do. Yes,
yes, that's where they are.
That's very interesting. Now then,
thank you.
What I want to talk to you about is the fact that if you have an intelligent wife, and if all your friends are intelligent people, you will yourself be more intelligent.
Yes, I'm sure that's true.
Right?
I mean, people are influenced by who they hang around with.
Well,
no doubt about
that. Absolutely. Now then, I can prove that this works.
Yeah.
Now, I have mentioned in the past the local secondary modern school in Chester, which is called Overley, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And I got a lot of abuse from ex-Overley pupils who said, you know, why are you talking Overley down? You know, it was great and, you know, we were all hard knocks and you were all, you know, you were all softies at the King's School and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you see, the point is that although I was at the King's School Chester, most of my best mates went to Overley. And they were hard knocks.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them, but...
Did they not kind of desert you on the basis that you had gone to the posh school then?
No, it was quite the opposite. They wanted to hang around with me.
Right.
And they wanted to hang around me, A, because I was, you know, a really bright kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know,
what happened to you?
My brain shone like a beacon compared to theirs.
Well, that's because that's why you are the way you are, because you see, there are people, for example, who like to hang around with sort of less intelligent people. It's a bit like, the girls that like to go out with somebody who's not very attractive.
Right.
Their girlfriend,
Yes.
So that they always look better
more attractive,
than the person they're with.
Yeah.
And you, I think, are one of those
Shocking
people that likes to hang around with people who you think are less intelligent than you.
No.
Because it makes you feel more
No,
intelligent.
no.
Whereas if you hang around with very intelligent people, sometimes you don't feel so intelligent.
No, not at all. I mean, they attracted themselves to me, not the other way around, There was one guy, actually, who's called Jez Newton.
Oh, yeah.
And he went to Overley, but his father had a great job in some sort of marketing role. And they lived in a big house in Queen's Park, I think it was. And, sometimes after the pub, we'd go back to his place because his parents were out for the night, there's some dinner or something like that, and just raid the drinks cabinet, which was extensive. It was huge.
Yeah.
They had a bar in one room, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was brilliant. But he chose to go to Overley.
Right.
Now, his dad wanted to send him to a private school. Now, you couldn't
He didn't
get
want to.
No, you couldn't get into the King's School Chester unless you passed the entrance exam.
Yeah.
You couldn't just buy your way in.
Right.
But there were other private schools. There's one called Abbey Gate, I think it was. And that was in Chester up to the age of 18, private school. No, Jez decided he wanted to be a hard knock. So he went off to Overley. And
what happened to him?
He went into marketing as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So he didn't end up going sort of down the horrible life of crime?
No, not at all. And in fact, I think what happened to him was, I mean, he was bright, but not bright enough to pass his 11 plus, if you see what I mean. And he sort of got brighter, I think, as he grew up and that kind of stuff. But the point I'm making is that he decided he wanted to shape his life in that fashion and be with those guys because he feared, this is true, going to, a private school would have alienated him.
But that didn't happen to you, though?
No, it didn't happen to me.
So why was he worried about that?
Because he didn't have the character and the strength and the foresight and the willpower to establish himself.
Are you still in touch with him?
No, I've been in touch with him for years. No. He actually married a girl who really, really fancied me.
Really?
Her name was Elaine, and she loved me. I mean, she was,
Was she your girlfriend at one point?
No, and I would never go out with her.
Why not?
I don't know. I just, want
like
to.
her?
No, or whatever.
work?
Or there was always another girl around or something like that. But she was absolutely besotted with me.
Yeah.
And in the end, she gave up on me, and Jez moved in there, and they got married actually before I left Chester. So
Did you go to the wedding?
No, I didn't, no.
He didn't ask you to be his best man?
No, definitely not. I mean, he was very aware of the fact that, had I turned up at the wedding, she may not have gone through with it.
It's funny you say that, because David in Knott says, good morning, lads. He says, maybe the reason for Porky not being a best man is that from his previous record, no groom would be prepared to let him near his newly acquired bride.
Well,
Morals of an alley cat.
Well, I mean, funny things happen at weddings, that's for sure. And
weddings have a weird effect on people.
They do. And I would be worried about you, mate, in the company or the presence of my bride-to-be, believe me.
Well, it would depend on whether you were marrying some hideous old crone.
Well, I wouldn't marry a hideous old crone, would I? What do you suggest? Why would I marry a hideous old crone?
Well, because that's the sort of age limit you're at now.
Oh, rubbish.
I mean, you're not exactly Peter Stringfellow, are you?
Well, hang on, mate. If I've managed to survive, without a nuptial partner for all of my life, why would I suddenly decide, I think I'll, get married now?
No, well, you might have some kind of
mad is that?
No, because you might have some kind of Paul Saul conversion.
No.
And we'll talk about this because we'll do listography and what you're going to be doing in the next 5 years. Because you might suddenly realise that actually, the one thing that's missing in my life is a companion. And rather than, getting a dog, you might say maybe it's time to actually think about being with a woman.
No, I'll be exploring new opportunities, new avenues, new experiences.
Yeah, but at some point,
places.
You might change that view.
No, I don't think so.
All right, we shall see. We'll do listography next. It will be things we'll be doing in 5 years' time on each other. This is Talk Sport.
I think we should pack it up after this week.
You think we don't give them any more credit?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because actually we're doing a lot better than they are.
We are.
And do you know why it works for us and it didn't work for them?
Why?
Because you can do it on the radio.
Yes.
Because you can explain it better.
Yes,
but
you can.
There's no writing down one word in a little box.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't make
explain
sense.
it. I agree.
But the way we do it, I think, is much better.
Yes.
Pardon us for blowing our own trumpet.
Yes.
But anyway, we've decided to choose tonight. It will be three things that we will be doing in 5 years' time.
Right.
It can either be personal or professional.
Yes.
And we have to do it on each other.
Okay.
As opposed to what we feel we ourselves are going to do. So do you want to go first with the first thing you think I'm going to do? In 5 years' time, it will be 2021.
Yes.
Incredibly.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think in 5 years' time, you could very well be married again and have stabilised your domestic life because you will have realised, as the father of two teenage boys, you have a huge responsibility to see them through the rest of their not childlike life, but their adolescent life into university, qualifying, and starting their lives as professionals themselves.
That may well be true, actually.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
My one for you is that you will have not necessarily a great piece of luck, but sort of a great development in that your chums at Harefield Hospital will chart your progress. So they have, in a sort of miracle way that so far you've recovered from, the complete heart failure, or whatever it was you had.
Yes.
So only 49% of your heart working.
Sure.
And I think you'll become actually back to normal. I think what they will figure out some way of making you actually lead a completely normal life, which I know you kind of do anyway.
Yeah, but
I think they will somehow, as time goes on over the next 2 or 3 years, you will repair yourself.
I have always had this inherent belief that I will live long enough to be told the news that we've made a breakthrough discovery, and with one injection we can now repair your heart.
Yes.
I've always believed that.
Right.
Actually, one of the reasons why I am so confident about the future and about my own health, contrary to the fact that I do have debilitating myopathy, is because I believe that invention's going to come in my lifetime.
Yeah, I think it might come in the next 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
So you can do your second one.
Right, the second one for yourself is, I think you will emerge independently as a major broadcasting force in this country, because in 5 years' time, I won't be around anymore in broadcasting.
I don't believe that.
No, I won't.
I don't believe that.
I can't see it after, I can't tell people exactly how old I am.
No.
But, I'm certainly in my early to mid-60s.
Yeah.
Can't see myself doing it at the pace we're doing it now.
Well, look at all the people we talk about. Joan Collins, who's 80-odd.
Yeah, sure.
In fact, there's people still broadcasting. Nicholas Parsons, for example, is still doing Just a Minute, I think.
Well, Jimmy Young was 83 before he packed it up.
There's loads of them in their 80s who are still doing stuff.
Look, it may happen, but there are things I want to do in life which I simply can't at the pace of work that you and I are engaged in at the moment.
So we are working very hard.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. Well,
it's almost every day we're doing something.
I know. That comes, and that doesn't mean we've worked 5 days. I mean 7 days.
Yeah.
I'm kind of moving in that same direction with you, because I'm saying that you will at some point slow down a little bit,
right?
Not to the point where you stop altogether,
but
that you then will find somebody that you want to spend some time with, whether it be on a sort of just a Rogerisation basis, or whether it's a sort of partner type thing. I think you'll find a woman that you'll want to be with for a considerable period of your downtime, if you like. And you will become a much less kind of driven person. That's what I think.
Well, that could happen, but I think it's unlikely, because you have to remember, when you've lived really as a single man for as long as I have, it's very, very hard to break that habit and have to give consideration to somebody else being in your house or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, there are ways of doing it.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you could have 2 separate houses.
Oh, I totally agree.
You got
the
wherewithal to do that.
Oh, I've thought about this before. If I ever did do it, I would buy the apartment opposite mine. I'd just make them an offer they couldn't refuse, and I'd say, right, okay, we'll live together.
The woman that you gave the 6 bottles of wine to.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, but
why you cut out the middleman? And just be with her.
No, that wouldn't work. I'm sorry.
Have to throw her out.
No, we're sort of different people. But what I'm saying is, you could then go about doing some building work to, provide a corridor between the two or something like that.
Like
you know what I mean?
Space.
Yes. The what? Sorry.
Like a crawl space.
Well, not a crawl space. I mean, obviously a corridor. But anyway, it's a possibility, but I doubt it.
Yes, that's what Alistair Campbell did with Fiona. What's her name? Isn't it? Fiona Miller. They bought a house in Gospel Oak.
Yes.
And then they bought the house next door.
Did they?
And they kind of knocked them together.
Oh.
And in fact, I think I'm right in saying that one of the Python guys, Michael Palin, he's got a similar area.
Really?
He bought 2 houses on either side of one house, which he couldn't get.
Oh, I see.
And then eventually the person in the middle moved out and he got all 3.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well,
Very
can be done.
popular thing to do.
Can be done.
So your third and final one for me.
Well, I'm afraid this is not as optimistic.
I was going to say, you've been very kind.
Yeah, well, this one, I don't want to worry you, but I feel it may be the closest of the 3 to the truth.
Oh, really?
I fear that in 5 years' time, you may have some sort of illness or disease
That's nice.
connected to your smoking.
Oh, really?
Because you're a very heavy smoker.
I'm not a very heavy smoker.
And that could reflect itself in emphysema, which a friend of mine got, which is horrible. I mean, you get very terrible shortage of breath and all that kind of stuff. It could, of course, be...
That's horrible.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm being realistic here, and I hope it shocks you into doing something about it. Or it could be lung cancer, or the first traits of it, or it could be any sort of those diseases which are linked to.
And the way you say this, it's not like as if you're concerned about it.
Well, I'm concerned. I want you to stop it. But I mean, the point is, you've got 2 young sons. Yeah. You have to think that you've got to be around for their future. Yeah. And smoking, 30 fags a day. If you say it's only 30, I'd say it's probably 40.
No, well, it depends what I'm doing. If I'm working, I'm not smoking 30 fags a day because I can't sit here smoking.
Yeah, but you're smoking most breaks, and you smoke before and after.
That's 4 through the night.
No, each hour.
No. It's 1 an hour. Yeah.
No, it's usually 2 an hour.
No, it's not. It's 5. It's 5. We have a 5-hour show, right?
Yeah.
I have 4 breaks.
Yeah.
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. There's 4 cigarettes.
And there's one before the show, and there's 2 or 3 after the show when you go home. That kind of stuff.
What I'm saying is that over a 6-hour period, I'm not smoking more than 6 cigarettes.
If we go out for an evening,
multiply that by 4.
You'll get through a packet.
If we're going out on a tear,
if we go out at 4 o'clock and we're out till 10 or something, you get through a packet of fags. Yeah, well, I think you're playing with fire. I think you're playing with fire.
I certainly am.
And
so I like them.
And I think you should have a think about it.
You're not supposed to be giving me advice.
Well, you said where do I think you'll be? I don't want you to be there, so I'm advising you to try and do something about it beforehand.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, I was going to say something nice to you, actually, but now I'm thinking I might just say, well, maybe you won't be here.
But I've said something nice to you.
Maybe you'll just be dead.
No, I've shown concern for you.
Not at all. I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say was I think, and I don't know whether I will be chastised by my daughter for this, but I may become a grandfather in 5 years, which would be a bit terrifying.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yes.
You may be approached to be the godfather to one of my grandchildren.
Well, you never know.
But not by me. I mean, I wouldn't approach you for that. But, you may be approached by the mother of the child to be a godfather.
Well, I mean, it's a very nice thought.
Godfather.
I think Godfather should
show me no respect.
Yeah. I think Godfather should be a bit younger than me,
And you did say you were going to make that woman an offer she couldn't refuse. So, it's already going that way.
Which woman?
The woman across the way.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Sleeps in the fishes.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah,
you never know.
Could be.
Yes.
So there we are. So we've got both our lives mapped out in our respectively opposite images.
Yeah, quite interesting, that.
Yes, quite interesting.
Now, how about this from Kev in North Shields?
Yes.
Now, I met Kev in North Shields, I think, when we were up in Newcastle.
Right, okay.
He was at the Shark Bar.
Okay.
Captain Sensible is a train spotter, he says. He even did a TV show about it.
Really?
And that's cool to me, as I'm a massive Damned fan. PSC in Whitley Bay.
The Damned?
The Damned.
Oh, Captain Beefheart and the Damned?
No, Captain Sensible.
Oh, Captain Sensible. Yeah, right, okay.
Captain Beefheart was a different captain.
He was, actually. He was a musician as well, though. Yeah. I have to say, I did like that Shark Bar in Newcastle.
I know you did.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic place.
It was good.
And I really regret that Newcastle have gone down for one reason.
Where are we going to stay, by the way, when we go to Whitley Bay? Do you know Whitley Bay?
Well, there's plenty of hotels in Whitley Bay.
Are there?
Oh, yeah, plenty of hotels.
Yeah. Well, Bay, presumably it's not as what you might call cosmopolitan or metropolitan as Newcastle. It's not as big.
I once lived in Whitley Bay for about 2 weeks. When I first went to Newcastle, I lived in a boarding house in Whitley Bay at the top of the hill there. Yeah. And it was run down and rubbishy because it was centred on a place called Spanish City, which is like an amusement arcade on the pier.
This place,
yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, that's all gone. That's all gone. And Whitley Bay now is very upmarket, and there will be sort of boutique hotels there, which we can get into.
All right, well, we'll check that out.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen has sent me a tweet that says, look at this, Cheshire Phoenix Basketball Club.
Oh, yes.
And the description is, the Cheshire Phoenix is a professional basketball team based in Ellesmere Port.
Ellesmere Port,
founded in 1984, members of the British Basketball League. So you say there's no professional basketball in this country.
Well,
I can tell you there is.
I think they're semi-professionals. How many people would go to a basketball game? What, a few hundred? How can that support a professional team?
Well, there are plenty of...
There's no TV rights.
Well, no. Well, there might be. I mean, it might just be.
Have you ever seen them on the TV?
Well, I don't watch every single sporting channel.
Yes.
I mean, like, for example, this Premier TV that's showing the Stanley Cup final. We don't get here. But lots of people would watch that.
Yes. It's interesting that team is based in Ellesmere Port. Do you know why?
Why?
We saw a colleague today from Fleet Street.
We
from
did.
The Fleet Street years.
Who you hadn't seen for a long time.
Hadn't seen for a long time. It was very nice to make his acquaintance again.
Yeah.
And I was over at the Evening Standard, right?
Yes.
He used to be my deputy at the Express.
He did.
One day he came up to me and said, I need tomorrow off if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I said, sure, what's going on? He said, I'm going back home. He comes from Ellesmere Port.
Yeah.
My mother's being made mayor
That's
of Ellesmere
right.
Port.
I knew his mother, funnily enough, yeah.
Yeah, she was mayor of Ellesmere Port.
Yeah, she
was.
was.
Amazing?
She was. Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Now, how about this from Alex, who says, touching and poignant listography tonight, chaps.
Oh, really?
Shows why you've got the best show and chemistry on radio, which is very nice of you to say, Alex.
Yeah, it is very nice of you to
Apart
say.
from the fact that Porky said I was going to die.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to prevent that from happening, you see.
Why? By making me stay up late and by making me go out drinking with you and smoking and all the rest of it?
No. By warning you that... Right, I'll tell you a story about Joe.
We haven't got time.
No, I'll tell you a story anyway. We have got time.
No, we haven't. We've got to do the Porky quiz.
All right. Well, just very briefly. Joe Melling here. Hello, Mike. How are you, son? How you doing? He was a great reporter.
He was.
With the Mail on Sunday. His voice got more and more gravelly. Hello, he's from Manchester, you know.
Yeah.
In the end, he went and found out what was wrong with his voice.
Yeah.
And he had advanced lung cancer.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
And he died in the London clinic in Harley Street a month later.
Yeah.
I mean...
What age was he?
Mid-50s.
Yeah. Well, it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Indeed.
But lots of things are dangerous.
Yeah.
There we are. This is Talk Sport.
I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and it is, of course, the highlight of the week for a lot of people. It is the Porky Quiz. Now, Mr. Parry, some people thought that particular piece of music would figure in the quiz.
Yes.
Which it isn't going to, of course, because it's the introduction
Right.
to the quiz. Do you know why it's the introduction to the quiz?
It's the theme music from one of Clint Eastwood's most famous films.
No, it isn't.
Right, OK.
No, it's a song called Clint Eastwood.
Oh, is it?
By the Gorillaz.
Oh, really? Yeah. But the Gorillaz don't exist.
No, they're a sort of
Exactly.
what you might call a figment of the imagination.
A cartoon band.
Of the Blur guys.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Alex James. Now,
Yes. Right.
the Clint Eastwood quiz has been put together by the independent quizmaster.
Yeah.
We are filming the quiz this week as well, just so that you know.
I want it. I want openness. Perestroika.
Is something
Glasnost.
that you've yes, indeed. Now, Dave Levine, the executive producer.
Do I have any notes on the desk? No.
Dave Levine, the executive producer, is the man with the camera.
Great.
He's going to pan in on what you've got in front of you there. You do seem to have some papers there, but
these are just notes about other things. Don't worry about it.
The other problem, of course, that we had was that there was a security breach earlier, and somebody had left a copy of the questions outside.
I didn't look at anything.
You say you haven't seen them, so that's fine.
Okay.
I guess we will know in the end how much you've actually been honest by how much your score is.
I see. Oh, you assume automatically if I get a big score, then I must have been...
Because you never get a big score.
Obtaining individual information.
Well...
Can we just get on with it? Let's just get on with it, okay?
The only time you ever did get a big score was because you cheated.
You're going to shut your fat mug, okay?
Now, as ever, there are 10 questions, all of which have one answer, and I will be having to be very strict with them.
Just getting my voice.
Apologetic cough of the minor poet. If you get one correct, you will hear this sound.
Go ahead, make my day.
If you get one incorrect, you will hear this sound.
Punk.
Okay.
Punk. Got it? Okay, ready for question number one?
First one is Make My Day, the second is Punk.
Yes.
Right, got it, yeah.
Question number one.
Okay.
What is the name of Clint Eastwood's production company?
His production company is named after the river that flows through his property, and it's called Malpara.
Incorrect.
No! It is.
Incorrect.
It is.
It's the Malpaso company.
I said that.
You said Malparo.
It doesn't matter. It's the same. It is the same. I should get at least half a point.
No, you don't get half a point. It's wrong. Question number two. Which rank did Clint attain during his national service in the US Army from 1951 to 53?
He was a corporal.
Correct.
Hey!
Go ahead. Make my day.
Goodness me, that doesn't all go well. Question number three.
Yes.
Who directed the first spaghetti westerns that Clint Eastwood starred in?
That was Serge Leone.
So would you like to say that again?
Yes. Serge Leone.
Serge Leone.
Yes. Yes.
I guess I'll have to give you that.
Yes.
Sergio
Leone.
Go ahead. Make my
Known
day.
as Serge to his friends. Wow, 3 out of 3.
No,
3 out of 3.
No, it's 2 out of 3.
Malpasa and Malpara are virtually the same pronunciation.
Doesn't matter, you got it wrong.
In Mexican, where it was taken from. I said that.
No, you didn't. Question number 4. What was the gun carried by Dirty Harry, and what did he say it could do? Now, you're going to have to be very precise with the answer to this.
Okay.
So I need to know the exact type of gun, and I have to know exactly what he says.
Okay.
Just before he uses it, in particularly the Dirty Harry movies.
Okay. It was a Magnum 44 handgun.
Yes.
And it could blow your head clean off.
Correct.
Thank you. Woo!
Go ahead. Make my day.
He also called it the most powerful handgun in the world.
That's right.
I'll let you off with that.
Yes.
You sure you haven't seen these questions?
Of course I haven't.
You got 3 out of 4.
I've got 4 out of 4, actually.
No,
But
you've
anyway,
got
go
3
on.
out of 4.
Go on.
Question number 5.
Yep.
Which 2014 Eastwood-directed movie broke box office records?
2014.
14.
That's not long ago.
It's 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago. I would say it was... excuse me. It was... I know, it was a follow-up to the first boxing film, Wonderful Baby. I think it was Wonderful Baby 2.
Incorrect.
No.
It was, in fact, American Sniper.
American Sniper.
You haven't seen it, have you?
No.
Why not?
Because I thought it was like about a guy with a gun.
Question number 6. Clint Eastwood served as mayor of what California town from 1986 to 1988?
He served as mayor of a Californian town which most people entitle Carmel, but in fact the name on the board as you enter the town is Carmel by the Sea.
Do you mean Carmel?
Yeah, Carmel by the Sea.
Carmel by the Sea,
yeah.
correct.
Hey!
Go ahead. Make my day.
Definitely seen these pictures.
I have not.
And we have to sack the guy behind the glass for leaving him out there. 7. Question number 7. Who was his co-star in the 1970 Western 2 Mules for Sister Sarah?
2 Mules for Sister Sarah. I believe the co-star was the sister of Warren Beatty, Shirley MacLaine.
He's definitely cheating.
Hey!
There's no way. There is no way.
Oh,
There's no way.
For a record score.
Okay. Question number 8. What was the last film he starred in that was not made by his own production company?
Oh, last film.
So that would be not made by Malparo.
Yeah. Which I should have got a point for. At least
You get nothing for that.
Should have got at least half a point.
You've already got 5 points for cheating.
I would say that one was... I think it was the one about him being a secret agent and protecting the president, but he was actually a sort of, very dark sort of cop and all that kind of stuff. And... or it could be one of the last westerns he made. I'll go for Unforgiven.
Incorrect.
No,
it was actually Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes,
which was much older than that. Ever since 1967, every film he's made has been made by Malpaso.
Oh,
or Malparo, as you call it.
Yeah.
Question number 9. So far, you've got 5 out of 10, which is already more than I thought you would get.
Yes.
Question number 9.
Yes.
In Magnum Force, he comes up against a group of rogue young motorcycle police officers.
Yes.
Who played their leader?
Their leader. Now he's the guy who, he was a Chips character, wasn't he? On the old Harley Davidson,
motorcycles, yes,
roaring up and down the old freeway there, California.
Yeah.
That would have been. I know this. I know who it was.
And what was it?
Alec Baldwin.
Incorrect.
No.
It's not even close.
No.
It's David Soul.
Oh,
who, of
David
course, played
Soul.
Starsky in Starsky and Hutch from the original TV show.
Yeah, well, that's close.
Question number 10.
Yeah.
Can you get 6 out of 10, which would be the most you've ever got?
Yes.
And from the chocolate quiz, I think that was the top one.
Yes.
$1 Million Baby, you mentioned it earlier.
Yes.
Won 4 Oscars in 2004.
Yes.
Including Best Director.
Yes.
Who was the star?
The female star.
Yes.
I know this.
Do you?
Because the surname is a very unfortunate surname for a lady.
This is like Slumdog Millionaire now, this is turning into, isn't it? So I'm going to hang you up and start beating you around with an electric prod.
No. Hilary Swank.
Correct.
Hey! Go ahead. Make my day.
Have you seen $1 Million Baby?
No.
Why do you know her name then?
Because I remember reading the review of it or something. I read her name and I thought, wow, that is a very unfortunate name. I swear to you.
You've got 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's a very high score.
Thank you very much. And it should be 7.
No, it shouldn't.
Hang on. Malpara and Malpaso,
Absolute
one
bollocksio.
letter. One letter.
Bollocksio.
One letter difference.
No, it's wrong.
I should have been given it.
Well, I mean,
I should have been given
it. If there was one letter difference,
letter.
Your name could be completely different.
Yeah, let me.
Mike Harry.
Here, I'm going to write
Larry.
it out. Here.
Mike
here.
Sarry.
I want the audience to see this.
Why?
Right. So I'm telling you.
I want the audience to work out how you've
telling you. That was the correct answer, Malpasa, and I said
it's wrong. It's Malpaso.
And I said Malpara. I said Malpara, which is one letter's difference.
No, but that's not right.
It's a damn disgrace.
It's Malpaso.
Yeah, what a damn disgrace.
Idiot. Now, anyway. Sorry.
Right.
I thought we were having another snowball fight.
Yeah.
That, of course, was the Porky Quiz. And if you want to see us doing that live, of course, come to Dingwalls next Friday, June the 10th.
That's right.
And it will be a much more interesting one than this.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
June the 10th.
Talk Sport, we are the two Mikes. I'm sorry to say, Mr. Parry, there are an awful lot of
Yeah.
people very much doubting that you actually answered
Well,
these questions honestly.
yeah.
And I'll tell you why, right? Because there's always a bit of evidence here to be pointed to.
Yes.
You didn't do any thinking aloud, which is what you always do when you're searching for the
well,
answer.
that's because my brain was very active. I didn't need to think.
Well, Lee is a typical tweet
Yes.
that's come in.
Yes.
MG, he was too fast answering the questions and no thinking aloud. He definitely saw at least half of them.
No, not at all. Here, what about JPK? He says, hearty congratulations on your performance, Porky. Why Malparo wasn't a point is beyond me. Inordinately pedantic from MG.
How about
you
this?
See?
Alex,
so they're saying that you were cheating.
No, Alex says, painfully obvious, Porky had a quick glance at Malpaso on the forgotten quiz sheet and couldn't remember it correctly.
Rubbish.
That's
Rubbish.
actually an interesting point,
No,
isn't it?
no, I never saw that quiz sheet.
Richard
you know that.
says, well done, Porky. That's if you didn't look at the quiz sheet.
Gemma says, cheated. Now, you see, you know why this is going on? Because you have spent so long besmirching my character by telling
Not at all.
people that I'm a filthy, downtrodden cheat.
Well, you are
When
a cheat.
I'm not.
I'm not. You've confessed in the past to cheating in various walks of life, in various things that you've had to do.
But I've never cheated in this quiz because I'm an honourable man and I don't, OK? This guy Richard, if you hadn't seen the quiz sheet, Porky, then well done. You see, you put the seed of doubt in everybody's head.
Pascal says this, it's very easy to mix up Malpara and Malpaso when looking up an answer sheet very quickly before being spotted.
Rubbish.
Now,
utter rubbish. What about this one here? Hey, Porky, every time you got one right, you sound like Clive from the film Everything, what was it, Every Way But Loose or something?
Oh, you don't remember that name?
Yes, I do.
That wasn't on the quiz sheet, was it?
Yes, I do.
Maybe we should do your second quiz.
No, don't be ridiculous.
Becky says, very suspicious activity on the Porky quiz, no thinking aloud, straight in with the answers, a record 6 out of 10 on a film quiz.
Yeah, and it should have been 7, of course.
Steve said, blatant cheating, that is not possible. Stewart's inquiry, MG, sack the Muppet behind the glass.
No.
I'm going to get the Muppet behind the glass to come in, actually.
Yeah.
Because the Muppet behind the glass is responsible for leaving the quiz sheet outside, right? I want him to come in here and tell me exactly how that could possibly have happened. Because we have a very, very tight security scenario here.
I can promise you, I wasn't aware of it.
When the quiz questions come in, there's a very strict protocol about what should happen.
Yeah.
Now, Ollie's here.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Ollie, I want you to tell me exactly, I'm not going to call you a Muppet right now because that wouldn't be fair. Did you or did you not get the quiz questions?
I did get the quiz questions, yes.
What did you do when you got the quiz questions?
When I get the quiz questions, because of course I need them to have in front of me so I know what's right and what's wrong and I can play the right thing.
Yeah.
So I print them out.
Right.
I printed them out.
Yeah.
I did not collect from the photocopier.
You're saying you left it on the photocopier?
Yes, the printer photocopier where Mr. Parry does some photocopying.
So you left it on the photocopier?
I think I left it on the photocopier.
Well, I found it on the desk. I didn't find it on the photocopier.
I mean, I was sat at that desk, but...
So did you take it from the photocopier to the desk?
I don't,
you don't recall?
recollect doing that.
What are you, Oliver North now? I do not recall.
Well, hang on.
All right, off you go.
So how did these answers... Sorry, Ollie, you've got to answer this question for me.
You've got to answer another question.
How did these answers then suddenly get from the photocopy where you think you might have left it to the desk where you say you were sitting? I mean, what is this? Some sort of, magic?
Well, you tell me, Mike.
Well, no, I can't tell you. You're supposed to tell me.
Nobody knows.
No one knows. It's just
shocking. It's a shocking breach of security.
Very suspicious.
Because the trouble is, in the end, Mike may well have memorised all these answers. He may not have been cheating, but now it looks like he was.
No, it does not. How dare you say that? I swear on the life of my ageing mother, if I was a Bible and I'd put my hand on it, I did not see any of the questions. I was not cheating. I'm an honourable man, and I massively resent. And your damned incompetence, Ollie, has put this question mark over my best ever performance.
Yeah.
You scumbag!
It's a shocking
3-inch peveril.
like to apologise to all and sundry.
Thank you very much indeed. Please try and do better next time. There's no need to abuse the poor guy.
Well, I mean, he's the guy who's caused the problem. Cause my integrity to be questioned.
You may have another Toby Gillies scenario on your hands.
Cause my integrity to be completely questioned.
Yeah. Unbelievable start to the quiz, says Kevin. Lord Rallo says, good God, Porky doesn't know much, but apparently knows a lot about Clint Eastwood.
Exactly. And William here, you see, he anticipated this a few minutes ago. He said, thinking aloud now, I'm expecting a sharp shooting performance from old Porky. Well, William, I think I gave you one.
Yeah, well, I think people are now, having listened to Oliver's testimony, which is obviously, to be believed, it's very clear, to me anyway, that there certainly would have been an opportunity for you to have a glance at the sheet of paper which contained the quiz.
I did not take that opportunity, believe me. I didn't know the opportunity was available.
JHA saying, could the plank please be drug tested due to his unusually large score on the quiz?
Exactly.
I don't think we want to do that. You take about 16 different pills every day.
I do.
Maxwell Silverhammer, 100% he's seen the questions, no doubt.
Rubbish. It's absolute nonsense. I will not take that.
Oliver, on the other hand, says, Porky can't even get 100% when he cheats.
Oh, that's very funny, isn't it? Very, very funny.
It's very good.
I will not accept this and any further insinuations of me cheating.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, this matter will be taken further.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I'll give you a spontaneous Clint Eastwood quiz sometime next week.
Grab, sue it and run.
There's no way
may well be involved.
There's no way that you remembered Hilary Swank's name because of some bizarre kind of thing. You don't know anything about movies. You haven't seen any films.
Listen,
you shouldn't even get your favourite film, Top Gun, right at the end. You said you described the ending wrong.
That is such an unusual name for a woman actress who's never really made any other film. And it won, by the way, 2 Oscars, that film.
He won 4.
Yes, but Clint Eastwood won 2 Oscars for it.
He won Best Director.
Best Director and Best Film.
Did he not get one for the score?
No, it's Best Director and Best Film.
The score as well. How about this from someone who doesn't give a name?
Yeah.
This whole Porky Godfather scenario is an elaborate ruse by old MG, in my view, hoping Porky will leave a few bob in his will for his grandchild to make up for the lost apartment money that Porky stiffed him with in New York.
Yeah, that could well be his duplicitous plan.
Lee in South Wales says, I thought the questions were very, very easy in the Porky quiz, possibly the easiest ever. Well done, Harry.
Not easy from here, mate. When you're in the hot seat, when you're under the spotlight, when you've got the pressure on you, when your whole reputation for, the accuracy of your facts as a journalist is at stake, believe me, there's nothing easy about any of those questions. I can tell you that for sure.
Now, I'm going to tell you a story which is going to knock your socks off, okay? Because we're nearly at the end of the show, but we will be back to do the warm-up on Sunday, of course. Here's the thing. I got an email the other day from some old university friends that I haven't seen for probably 30 years.
Right.
Possibly longer.
30 years?
Yeah. They'd sort of somehow... They'd all had a sort of a reunion once every so often.
Didn't invite you, obviously.
Well, they didn't really know where to get hold of me.
Oh, rubbish.
And they said that,
on social networking, they couldn't find you. They didn't want you there.
Well, maybe not. But the point is that, they were sitting around talking about me, discovered that I was doing what I'm doing with you, and that, as they described it, I'm now some kind of superstar, which, of course, is very kind of them to say.
Yes.
But anyway, we've now hooked up, right? So I sent an email back because they said it'd be great to get together. And I've got this amazing kind of breakdown of their lives.
Yeah, go on.
Because I got sent. I'm not going to give their names away, but one's called Steve, right? Married to his first wife for 26 years. He's got 1 son and 1 daughter, 3 cats. He's a sales manager, right? Lives in a converted coaching house near Scotch Corner, in North Yorkshire.
That's on the A1.
Second guy is married to...
Hang on, is he still married?
Yeah.
Right.
Second guy married for 27 years to somebody whose name I'm not going to give out. No kids, but 2 cats. Part-time wine merchant with properties in Bath and Penzance.
Yeah.
So he's done all right.
So he stayed in Bath after university.
He did, yes.
Where did he come from originally? Do you know?
I think he came from Berkshire or something.
I see.
He was quite posh. Steve, who was married, is married again to somebody for 1 year, has 3 kids with somebody he was married to before. He's a bit of a hippie. He's into wind energy and all things green and vegan like that. He's living in an old water mill in West Wales.
Right. And what's he do for a living?
Well, he's a kind of alternative energy type person.
Is he?
He's a bit of a hippie, as I say.
Right. Okay. Doesn't live in a teppee then.
No, he lives, and I've just told you, in an old water mill in West Wales.
Well, it's the same thing, really.
Dave married somebody 22 years ago, 1 daughter and 1 guinea pig. He's a retired railway signalling engineer, lives near Swindon.
Yeah.
Right?
Retired railway signalling engineer?
Well, he was a bit older than the rest of us.
Oh,
so
was he?
He must be...
How many years older?
Well, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe.
So he could be 60?
He could be 60. Well, maybe he's done all right. He can
a mate of mine worked for British Rail or the railway authorities as a surveyor, and he
Yeah.
got compulsory retirement at 55 on a very good pension.
And then finally, one one guy who's been married, who's had a partner for 12 years, no kids, he's an electronics lecturer and teacher, lives in Winchester. So at some point or other, I'm going to get together with all these guys. It's fascinating, isn't it?
So he's a lecturer in Winchester.
Yeah.
So what university would that be?
Well, I don't know whether it's school or...
What county is Winchester in? It's
Hampshire. You go past it on the way to Portsmouth.
Yeah, well, the university of Hampshire is in Southampton, I think.
Yeah, but there's loads of schools and colleges around Winchester.
Well, Winchester's got one of the best schools in the country.
The M3 goes past it.
Winchester College. Yeah,
well,
could be there.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I can only give you the information I've got.
Okay, and are you planning to get together with these guys then?
I think so, yeah. Well, they said they'd quite like to come to a show, but they can't come to London.
Right.
Dingwalls. They can't come to Edinburgh.
Yes.
So maybe they could come to Rugby, or maybe they could come to Whitby Bay or Liverpool. I don't know. Yeah. But, I mean, it'll be an interesting exercise.
Very interesting indeed, yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, having not seen these guys, who I lived with kind of cheek by jowl for about 4 years.
Did you all live in this flat above the crockery shop?
We had a house. Well, we started living there, and then we moved to another place.
Right, I see.
Which was about 4 stories of this
But I mean,
old
the
Victorian
problem with reunions is, in my view,
Yeah.
is that you might actually decide why you haven't seen these people the last 26 years, because they bore you to death.
But that's a very negative way of looking at it.
Well,
but
no,
they never bored me to death when I was with them.
I was invited to a King's School reunion.
Yeah. But you don't go to that because you don't want to meet somebody who's more successful than you.
I don't think any of them would be.
Oh, I think they are.
Well,
what about Martin Lewis?
Who?
Martin Lewis. MoneySavingExpert.com.
Yeah, he wasn't in my year. I'm talking about people in my year.
Oh, right.
Right?
Well, there might be people more successful than you.
Yeah, but if they are, why don't I know about them? Why haven't I seen them in print?
People can be successful without being publicly successful.
To an extent, but if they're a very successful business person, we would know about them.
Not necessarily.
They would have been written about.
Not
They
true.
would. They would.
No, incorrect.
If they're very successful.
No. If
they'd broken through in the area of acting on television or theatre or
things that people
films.
do and are successful at that do not get much kind of publicity about.
Well, maybe.
For example, one of them might be a spy. And then, you don't want to read about that, are you?
No, you don't read about that, I suppose, yeah.
One of them could be, for example...
tortured by the North Koreans.
One of them could be, for example, a very successful, say, physio, working for a very successcue sporting organisation that you might not know about.
I know one of them was a very successful dentist.
There you go.
Because he went up to the Moose at Ground, I think it was Reading, and said, do you know Mike Parry? I went to school with him, my name's Tim Mellor, and I played centre forward in
Don't give his name away.
It doesn't matter. He passed his name on to.
He played centre forward, in the team that you were the midfield dynamo?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he was a big, tall fellow with a shock of curly hair, and he was very good. He was very persistent and applied himself to his role.
Dogged.
Yes, dogged.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, but
I
anyway,
he went to Liverpool.
I'm looking forward to seeing these guys at whatever point it happens. I mean, I don't think they hang around because they all live in different parts of Britain.
Yes.
I don't expect that they see each other all that much anyway.
Well, I shouldn't think they do, no.
But the picture of them is really interesting because they look an awful lot older.
Seen the picture.
They look an awful lot older.
Let me see the picture and I'll tell you whether I think they're...
Than I do.
Juice heads or not.
I would say that they all look a lot older than I do, okay? Now, the problem is I'm not going to be able to get this up, probably. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's the picture there.
Right, let's have a look.
Do I not look a lot younger than any of them?
Now then, let me see. Actually, they don't look like a bad bunch.
No, they're a great bunch of guys.
Round a table in somebody's back garden. Yeah. It's a house that's obviously been built in the sort of Cotswolds type area or down in Bath or something like
Bath,
that.
Yeah.
Because it's got that sort of brickwork.
Yeah.
And they're around a table
Bath
in the
stone.
back garden. There's a tablecloth on the table.
You don't have to describe the whole house.
No, obviously having some food, but I'm delighted to say at least 3 bottles of wine on the table. So that's a plus.
There was never any shortage of grog.
Yeah, that's a plus.
But don't you think they all look a lot older than me?
No, I'd say they look about the same age.
Really?
Yes, I would, yes.
Unbelievable. Yeah. This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport, we are the two Mikes. We'll be back on Sunday for the warm-up at 11 o'clock. I've got a couple of tweets, I think, which will, text rather, which will, I think, sum up the feelings of the audience.
Yes.
Here's one from a guy who doesn't give his name. He said, had to laugh at Mike Parry saying most people call it Carmel, and then corrects the listeners by letting them know it's Carmel by the sea, and then pronouncing Carmel wrong.
Yeah.
He also says he's an honourable man, and in the next breath admits he would have cheated if he had seen the list.
No, I didn't.
You couldn't trust him to look after your clothes on the beach when you go for a swim.
I didn't admit that at all.
Jim says Porky admitted earlier tonight that he would have cheated if he had seen the question sheets and would not have admitted to it.
Not at
all. Hoist by your own petard.
No, definitely not.
And here's one. How much did Porky pay Ollie to leave the question sheet on the photocopy?
Well, actually, if Ollie had come to me and asked for a deal, I would have entered into that arrangement.
I know you would.
Yeah.
There's no question.
In fact, that's a good thing for future when Ollie's here. Yes.
And JP in Blackpool says Porky only remembered 6 out of 10 because only 2/3 of his brain works.
That's very unfair. It was 7 out of 10 anyway, in my view. I got the first question so nearly right.
Yeah, you didn't quite read it, did you?
I didn't read anything.
Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
You're a disgrace.
I am.
That's the national anthem of Paraguay.
Very good.
Thank you.
You guessed that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No,
Yeah, you did.
no, I knew. I know.
By a process of elimination.
No. I know all the national anthems of all the countries in the world.
Do you?
Yes. At school, I was known as Britannica because of my extensive knowledge. With a driver like me, whose reactions and reflexes were once monitored as being just short of the speed of light. I got my friend a lollipop.
If you were to get married, right, final question, would you make me your best man?
Well, I'd have to think about that.
There was a copy of the quiz questions sitting on a desk.
Well, I didn't see it.
Left there by one of our technical staff.
Well, I wish I'd seen it, but I didn't.
Are you sure you didn't see it? I have to ask you that, because, I mean, obviously, if you haven't... I don't think you've seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Because it wasn't near where you were sitting.
Haven't seen it.
But it was sitting there face up,
yeah,
and you would have passed it on your way into the studio.
I can promise you I did not see it. How long has it been there?
Well, it's been there since the quiz questions came in at around about 1 o'clock. Just before 1, actually.
Just before we started.
Yeah.
Well, I can say, hand on heart, in all honesty, I have not seen those quiz questions.
You were a bit late coming into the studio.
No, I wasn't late coming to the studio. I'm always getting my gear together. I have my own headphones, which I have to program and all that kind of stuff.
You have to program them?
Indeed, I do. Because I need the sound balance levels to be right to cope with you.
And you have to get about the faux leather bag. Listen, I'm convinced that you haven't seen them.
Right.
But I just wanted to look in your eyes.
Okay, look in my eyes.
Mano a mano.
Look in my eyes, look in my eyes.
I did not, telling the truth.
I wish I'd known they were there, and if I had, I can tell you now, I would have cheated and I would have looked at them and not told you.